All right, babies, let's get the flavor on. Come on now. Do we have some working microphones? Is everybody hearing me? I think so. Come on. Oh, that's right. What was that? Who put that cat under there? Come on. Wait, what happens if I pull this finger? That's not working. Come on. Let's get in here, people. We gotta have a show tonight. There's just too much stuff going on, my pretties. Listen here. Don't forget to hit that like when you're walking in the door, man, because when you're walking out, you're gonna be feeling sad. If you haven't hit that like or whatever, you're gonna feel soft on the mic. Come on. So hit that like. We're gonna love you for it. I gotta tell you real quick. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. So I hope that some of you got a chance to see the short that I put out earlier. It's yeah. I posted it on my site and I posted it on Shitter. I was gonna post it on Threads, but it was being wonky. Yes, I have the evidence. So I broke down and cried. And oh, Sandy. No, I broke down the biggest lie of Jim Jordan's, the biggest dumbest lie of Jim Jordan's Hunter Biden accusations. And yes, I put my shorts online. It's an auction, and I'm trying to raise money for charity. That one being me. I got to try a stash. You think that works? You think it looks good on me, man? I don't think so. I think it's going to look funky and it's going to drive people strange. Come on. It ain't right. It ain't right, man. So, I always wondered, like, how that became a radio character voice. I can do this voice forever. You know what I mean? Like, somebody just decided. It's kind of like the play that funky music white boy singing voice. I was a boogie singer playing in the rock and roll band. Right? I don't know who walks up to the mic and goes, "Okay, guys, band members, okay, hear me out. I think from now on, I'm gonna sing like this. Okay, wow, yeah. Really? That's gonna be singing? Hey, Neil Young has a career. All right, well, touche. I guess it's all on my babies. So, yeah, Wolfman hack. It is club style. I don't get it. It's very strange. Oh, my overhead light. This is not. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. So let's get started. Well, I guess we start off on a sorrowful note, a sad note, a note that will, obviously something in D minor, the saddest of all keys, and that is, of course, because not only is the NDAA vote going on right now, but, ladies and gentlemen, farewell speech from Kevin McCarthy. This might be one of our last times. It's certainly our last time hearing it on the floor. Hearing his, I guess, substitute teacher condescending breathy voice, again and again. It's 8 minutes long. I don't know that I can stand it. Let's take a shot, shall we? I gotta know what the hell.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank.
Oh, hold on. I got to shift. I had my thing up in my headphones. It's gonna be. It'll create a loop, and that's ugly. Okay, this is better.
The Dean, Mr. Calvert, for putting this together into my
putting this together. This empty room.
Colleagues from California. I'm so.
Thanks to the four of you for showing up. I never realized how cavernous this room sounds when you're unpopular and of no use to anyone. Anyone.
So very, very proud of you and to my friends for coming. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, his friends, Mr. and Mrs. Friend. Louis Friend. 6'2", blue eyes. He said he lived in Baltimore, but may have lied. That's all I can remember, Mom.
Constituents, thank you. Thank you for ever giving me this opportunity.
Forever giving me this opportunity? All right.
To serve you. To America,
Yeah. Well, a third of it anyways.
I loved every single day.
No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up. You did not. You did not.
Less than 13,000 people.
You can love the job and not love every single day. Shut the fuck up. Just say you love this job. You love doing the job. You love doing it. And even when it was difficult, you were inspired the next day to get up and try again. But don't fucking, whatever.
Ever be giving the privilege or the honor.
Ever be giving. Fuck, I never knew that a farewell speech could be this good.
Less than 13,000 people have ever been given the privilege or the honor to serve in this body.
Ever be given. Less than 13,000 people ever be given.
To those colleagues on the other side of the aisle,
I suppose that makes you special then. I thought politicians weren't above the rest of us and they were like some elite bullshit, but now you're like, I'm part of a club of 13,000. Fuck all y'all.
I thank you for the work you've done.
Thank you for the work that you have done.
We may disagree at times.
Uh-huh.
I disagreed with the vote on this one, too.
I lost my job.
But one thing I think we must quite...
Did he say wooden thing?
With the vote on this one, too. But one thing I think we must...
Wooden thing I'm thinking about doing...
Must quite understand. And if there's advice I can give...
Oh, dear.
Do not be fearful if you believe your philosophy brings people more freedom.
Do not be fearful if you believe your philosophy brings people more freedom. You mean like women, LGBT people, and poor people, and people who aren't uber rich and can't get $230 million worth of loans forgiven magically? Which freedoms are we talking about? Because I don't know if you noticed, but you guys singularly took away more women's rights in this year since fucking before suffrage.
Do not be fearful.
Fearful.
That you could lose your job over it.
Because you might lose your job, but at least those bitches are losing their rights. Am I right? High five. Give it up top. Right, ladies? Am I right? Am I right, ladies? What the fuck?
I knew the day we decided to make sure to choose to pay our troops.
Okay.
While war was breaking out, instead of shutting down, was the right decision. I also...
All right. I think he like combined three things in that sentence.
So knew
like three different dates.
a few would make a motion. Somehow they disagreed with that decision.
Somehow?
Do it anyways. I would do it all again. But there's so much we have been able...
Of course you would do it all again. You were kicked out because well, here's the thing. If you did it all again, you'd have to stop doing it again, because the one thing you should have fucking changed was giving them that one note kick your ass out the door vote, dummy.
To accomplish in a short amount of time. I watched on
Pornhub?
On a clip.
Matt's phone?
The other day, and they took a short clip of a quote of mine.
Oh, that's nice of them. And you're watching clips of yourself? I don't really do that. It's interesting because I do this so often. I don't have time. I'd love to, though. I love the sound of my own voice and seeing myself do stuff, but I'm too busy working. Anyways, you were looking at a clip of yourself, were you?
And I had the privilege of being leader for 5 years.
Yeah, but you guys were out of power for 4 of them.
And I think about, did I leave this place better than I received it?
No.
I remember sitting where Congressman...
And by the way, the only way you were within fucking shooting distance is because it sucked so bad when you arrived.
Calvert was, and it was the State of the Union. The Democrats had won the majority. I had got elected minority leader while another colleague from my state, Nancy Pelosi, got elected speaker.
A woman. I'll show you, ladies. Now we know where the grudge about this came from. This isn't about like abortion or anything like that. It's just like, I lost my job to a lady parts lady.
I watched the Democrats stand up and...
Fuck, man, that room sounds hollow. There's a definite shortage of bodies in there during this.
They were very diverse. They looked like America. I watched us stand up. We had lost the majority.
But then we got Byron Donalds and like 2 other people, and poof, we're as diverse as the Democrats. Crazy. Or, well, as much as we want to be. Well, a little more than we want to be. Yeah, that was a big cough. The only people that showed up are people with the new COVID variant.
I quote and say we look like one of the most restrictive country clubs in America. And I thought at that moment
that it would change, and it didn't.
I could be the leader of a declining party, or I can focus.
Wait a minute, asshole. This isn't how you find yourself, your way to life. So I supported a little-known congressman in a new district in New York. I gave him a shot. And that man was George Santos. I think. It might be DeVolder might be his last name. He might be American or Brazilian. Anyways, he was a guy that really gave us, he's Hispanic, supposedly, according to one of his last names, and he's gay, which is definitely true because he was accused of sexually harassing male members of his staff, which is so weird on our side of the aisle because, right, ladies? And
focus on what I know brought me to this party.
The fact that, like, Bakersfield is lunatic right wing and kind of a middle and nowhere city in California.
Conceived in liberty, dedicate the proposition that we are all equal.
Yeah, something like that. Now, tell me again how when Joe Biden breezes past the words in that he's a fucking lunatic, but I don't know what the fuck you just said. He's got Joe's got dementia if he says it like that, but this is the former Speaker of the House.
Conceived in liberty, dedicate the proposition that we are all equal.
Dedicated proposition, blah, 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 blah. I don't like prepositions, okay? I don't like conjunctions. I don't need them.
And I would take that message to places people didn't think they would vote for a Republican.
Uh-huh. And
that California delegation at that time was pretty small. And yes, it was competitive having the speaker from California. She would put out that she was going to win a lot more seats in California. But I'm proud to say, in those election cycles, we picked up 5 more seats in California.
Because they created 5 more seats in California because of population, dum-dum.
That's larger than our overall majority.
That's right. If California would just get their shit together, well, you guys wouldn't have a majority. You're right.
5 more in New York, in Oregon, in Arizona. And in that same time frame.
So I'm only here because of gerrymandering, which is, I think, one of George Santos's other aliases, if I'm not mistaken. He calls himself Gerrymander at leather bars.
The party I love lost in the Senate both cycles, lost the presidency, but we won. The secret?
The secret? Cheating on elections. Yes, the entire elections were fraudulent, and obviously the Democrats rigged it so that only the dumbest Republicans would win, so they would eventually destroy their own party. That's right. Donald Trump was cheated, but I was put in there by that very cheating, and I want to keep my job at this place, but I can't, so fuck it.
The quality of the candidate. When I looked at young Kim, Michelle Steele, John Duarte, David Valadao,
George Santos.
These are unbelievable seats that idea wins in. And I look at our party today, it doesn't look like it did 5 years ago.
Right, yeah, they were actually passing bills, I think.
We were winning in places you haven't seen before.
That's because they're new districts. We're winning in districts that just now exist.
When I look to the future,
I see assistant managing a business in Bakersfield.
I think it's much brighter.
Really?
Why? Because the ideas are different. When we look at the time I served as Speaker, we didn't ignore
I would just say months.
the border. We actually secured our border with the smallest majority here to govern. Even when we had a large one, we could not do it.
So with your teensy tiny little majority, you secured the border? So what is all this, the border's wide open bullshit?
And that came from the subcommittee of the chairman of Tom McClintock.
Boom.
Brought people from all sides of the aisle together.
Because the committee is made up of both sides of the... Oh, God.
When I watched the gas price just skyrocket under the Biden
Skyrocket?
administration.
Uh-huh. And then go back down?
We didn't sit back. We made it our number one priority and passed energy independence.
What? Oh, so we're energy independent now, I guess. Okay, cool. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Yeehaw.
The public sits above, but for those 4 years, they didn't get to. We opened this place back up.
Uh-huh. Especially on January 6th. Yeah, you think the border was open. You should have seen the doors and windows on the fucking Capitol.
Because it is the people's house.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to come in single file and shit like that. It's not a giant squat, dumbass.
We created the Select Committee on China
It's also not a house. You know, kind of like Mar-a-Lago.
to make sure America can be competitive.
Yes, can be competitive. Yes, we want our congealed butter stored in jars to be better than India's, I guess.
We put our accountability on the weaponization so the American citizen would be protected.
What? To put our accountability on the weaponization so that the American citizens can be protected.
America can be competitive.
Be competitive. Yeah, we heard that.
We put our accountability on the weaponization
Yeah,
so the American citizen would be protected.
that's right. We're going to teabag the weaponization with our accountability. We're just going to nut drop accountability. Put our accountability on what? You do realize that Speaker of the House should, I guess, have some skill along with it, or?
We made the largest cut
Uh-huh.
in American history, and this body voted for it.
Oh, yeah? Who'd you circumcise?
Welfare reform to get people and help them to get back to work.
Welfare reform to get people and help them to get back to work. Just get those people and help them back to work by forcing them to go back to work if they're on welfare, whether they really could or not.
The largest rescissions in American history, where money was appropriated and not used, but only in Washington would you let it still be there.
Dude, that's money Trump set aside during his presidency that wasn't needed because the Biden administration was 20 times more efficient than anybody actively in the administration previous. That's why you brought the money back. They're talking about COVID funds that weren't spent.
We watched across the country crime rise, and D.C. want to go the same way.
D.C. wanted to go more. They were behind. They didn't have as much crime, and they wanted more crime, and they're like, what am I going to do? And we're like, we'll just maybe we'll have a crime school. Trump could teach.
First time in 30 years, this body stood up.
Oh, you mean since Joe Biden's crime bill that Trump was going to run to the left of, and now everybody wants to double down on?
170 on the other side of the aisle thought you should decriminalize carjacking and others. The president
No, they didn't. And by the way, for minors, simmer down.
threatened to veto it.
I'm a big fan of treating minors like minors and adults like adults. And I kind of feel like only a pedophile would want children tried as adults because they're like, well, if that kid can make an adult decision, certainly this kid that I abducted and put a rag over their face and took into my van and drove up into the hills with can make an adult decision.
But we did it anyways.
Uh-huh.
And we stopped them, and it became law.
You interceded in DC's local like city council bill. Look, DC's just, it's the capital. It's not its own city. That's never going to, like, DC, taxation without representation, that bullshit about DC, never going to fly. People need to get off that and get Puerto Rico statehood. Well, I might add, that would be easier and quicker and more important. But they just overrode the locals, which they do all the time. Just most of the time they do it in secret. You miss Diamond, or is it Silk? You miss Diamond, I guess. You might miss Silk, even though she's still around.
We believe in building things in America.
Yeah, you mean like chips plants, like Biden is doing, or like bridges and roads and airports and stuff like he's doing with the infrastructure bill, or oh, you mean Infrastructure Week during Trump, which was building. There was a carrier plant. No, that never happened. No, that didn't happen either.
But we watched many times. The laws we thought that were passed before to protect us only slowed us and weakened us.
Huh?
So for the first time in 40 years, we reformed NEPA.
Yeah, I would get some sort of like etching of that. You know what? Have somebody embroider that on a pillow and bite it.
We did all this with a slim majority.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm most proud of is what the future holds.
By the way, all the things you did with a, quote, slim majority is stuff that there were enough Democrats that in both the House and the Senate that thought it was important too. So the idea that you got, and I don't care. Like, I can fight with this, but it's just like, what the fuck?
The legacy
Uh-huh.
will be about the ones I see who serve here now.
Yes, people who are not quitting will continue forward doing their job or not doing their job or doing someone else's job or not doing someone else's job or something like that.
And I know the potential of...
I believe the children are our future, except the ones that, Matt Gaetz is hanging around with, in which case their children's will be the future at some point because Matt will be too old to, never mind.
What they will do. I know the potential of this nation.
Do you? You've seen Bakersfield. And if you drive through Bakersfield, one of the things you always say is, well, I guess it has potential. Sure as shit ain't there yet.
I am so thankful to be given the opportunity.
Get on with it.
To serve. I will be departing, but that doesn't
Or defarting.
mean I'll stop serving.
Yes, as a matter of fact, can we get our check? Because we're not going to have dessert. Well, we're going to have dessert. We're going to go someplace else. We just thought we'd come here for appetizers and that kind of stuff and watch part of the game. But you don't need to know that. Anyways.
Those across this nation should join together.
I agree.
To become those...
Swingers parties, kind of like the Moms for America or Moms for Liberty chick and her ex, except don't act like him. Be more like her, cool, down with the threesomes, I guess. Is that what you mean? No, not that. Hands Across America. I remember that.
Citizen legislators.
Uh-huh.
We cannot let this body fail to do the jobs.
Oh, believe me. This body does not fail to do the jobs. You know what I'm saying, baby?
They're so most basic that we should do every day.
They're what? They're so most basic that we should do every day.
Jobs. They're so most basic that we should do every day.
What? What?
I guess I agree. I don't know what I'm agreeing to. They're so most basic that we should do every day. It's fucking... I'm starting to not feel as bad that you lost the speakership at this point. Is that the point of this speech?
And we should never allow this body to stop for doing what is right.
Yes, right. Never let this body stop for doing what is right. Stop for doing? Gee, was he practicing talking to Trump? What? This is... It's just... What is happening? Listen to this again.
Those across this nation should join together
I
to
agree.
become those citizen legislators.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot let this body fail to do the jobs. They're so most basic that we should do every day. And we should never allow this body to stop for doing what is right.
Holy shit. That's amazing. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. What does he have in his head? Refrigerator poetry? It's just, who is shuffling the magnets in Kevin McCarthy's head? Stop for doing what is right. Oh God. Oh God. We all owe George W. Bush an apology. I mean, I swear to God, he didn't even bring it out at the end. You know what I mean? Like, you could see some people, like, they have an early flub, but they find, like, okay, I inverted the tense of that, so I'm just going to fucking yank the stick back and just give it a lot of throttle and hopefully not hit the ground. And it got worse. All right, one more time, because I don't know what the shit.
Be departing, but that doesn't mean I'll stop serving.
Nope. Yeah.
Those across this nation should join together to become those citizen legislators.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot let this body fail to do the jobs. They're so most basic that we should do every day. And we should never allow this body to stop for doing what is right.
I couldn't. I ran the whole thing without stopping it. I had to, and I don't know. What the? This is his farewell speech. This motherfucker is stepping down. Oh, God. Jesus. What a mess. Oh. I'm sorry. Okay, one more time. This is going to make me nuts, but I can't figure out what the shit he's actually trying to say.
But that doesn't mean I'll stop serving.
All right, yeah.
Those across this nation should join together to become those citizen legislators.
What do you mean? People should get elected in pairs? What? That doesn't make any sense either.
We cannot let this body fail to do the jobs.
Yeah.
They're so most basic that we should do every day. And we should never allow this body to stop for doing what is right. So if you come across that question,
If I do what?
What is right? So if you come across that question,
If I come across that question? If I come all over that question? What? If you come across that question?
of whether
Dude, you should not be winging this. You should be looking at notes. This is terrible.
you should do what's right out of fear of losing your job,
Uh-huh.
do it anyways.
You already said that part.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe giving Matt Gaetz the ability to get you fired with one vote is not the right thing to do, stupid.
And this is what the nation requires.
Well, yes, this is what the nation requires. You losing your job. No, I'm sorry. You quitting, because this is you quitting. This isn't you leaving the speakership. This isn't his farewell to the speakership. He's stepping down.
I think putting people before politics
is a lot of P's in one sentence.
Is always the right answer. And I thank my friends for their kind words. I thank them for their friendship that will not end. And I thank this nation.
Oh, you're welcome, buddy.
For creating a body
like mine. I'm sorry. No, what?
That is represented by the people.
Sure. We didn't do that. The founding fathers set up this system, you tit.
I think we should rise to the occasion.
This body should definitely rise to the occasion. I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna rise to it.
One more time. With that, I yield back. Thank you.
You yield back. With that, I yield back forever. That's nice. Getting a rousing round of applause from the 13 people in the room. Oh, good Lord. I had no idea how wonderful that would be. Now, by the way, I didn't get to say hi to the chat room. Hi, chat room. Look at you. Happy birthday. Yes, it's Benny Loco's birthday. Happy birthday, Benny Loco. And now back to the booze. Right, Vincent? Oh, God. Derp Carthy. Right. That was super weird. It was. Hi. Hey, how you doing? Whoop, whoop. Good to see you. How you doing? What's happening, people? By the way, it's early in the show. Hit that like button. The earlier you hit it, the more people know we're live, because the algorithm likes popular shows to push up into the thing. And since you're here anyways, just hit the like while you then. Tell you what, if you don't like it at the end, you're like, you know what? I take it back. That sucked. Just unlike it. Just a reverse click at the end of the show. But just give it to me right now. Have a little faith, will you? It's the holiday season. For shit's sake. The studio clapping like on talk shows. No, they would have backfilled it later. Yeah. What did did you just have a lobotomy? He did, it seems to. Man, oh, Chevet. His summer life, yes, she's fine. Benny Loco, she's not here. I know, but we can still wish her happy birthday. Because people mentioned it, and I thought that would be good. Like, I can see the chat right there in front of me. There you go. Yeah, next time, who's Kevin? Where's Kevin? Who cares? Yes, greatest speaker ever. Now, obviously, there are two main stories that are going back and forth, and it's the main one, of course, being that Hunter Biden showed up at the Capitol and said, "I'll speak in public and in front of the committee, but I'm not speaking behind closed doors because you guys are going to selectively leak shit, and then I have no guarantee that you'll actually, in a timely fashion, have me come in and speak in public." And so I don't want, I want to get this out of the way. Let's just do this in public and call it. Because what you can do is just get the behind the scenes testimony, leak out what you want, and then schedule the live testimony for, late next year or some shit, like fucking November 20th, right? That's the issue. So obviously, they're still butthurt on the right that their October surprise with the fake laptop didn't work. So they're very upset that he's not. They keep setting these traps and stepping in them themselves. Yeah. So here we go.
All right, baby, let's make some noise. Come on. We're about to see two types of ugly. This is gonna be rough, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you just if you're close to the TV, you might want to take a step back or just check that spot on your Christmas sweater right now. Yeah. Yikes. So the mess decided to have another mess on, and this is Gavin Newsom's ex. Yeah, and yeah, she looks like she works for the satanic church, like she's on there to talk about their winter solstice symbol or whatever, yeah. She's like Elvira's stunt double. Yeah. So, but this is the reason he has her on is to react to Hunter Biden skipping his deposition. And the only reason I know this, because I don't pre-watch this shit, is it says so. Kimberly Guilfoyle reacts to Hunter Biden skipping his deposition. Now, obviously both of us, you and I, because it's just us now, we want a real insider look at this kind of stuff. We want the legal opinions that matter. We want to hear, people who've, maybe even been through this experience before, that kind of thing. And we do. We have a felon on one side. But, you might think, hey, we're not going to get any good information out of these two. I don't like your I find your lack of faith disturbing. Let's find out. It's very short.
Guys, I'm really happy to welcome to the podcast my friend Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yes, I can tell that she's such a friend that you're reading her name off of a piece of paper. Hey, you guys ever see me intro Johnny Million when he comes on the show? Or even Phil, who became a friend via the interwebs? Or in any number of people that I bring on, our dear friend Boston Brian? Anybody, do I need to, look down or over at some, cribbed notes to welcome my friends onto the show?
She's a former prosecutor, longtime co-host of The Five on Fox News.
Used to knock boots with the mayor of San Francisco before he was the governor.
She was national finance chair of the Trump 2020 campaign.
Which is oddly, I don't know why he had to have a financial chairman, because isn't he super rich and just paid for the whole thing himself?
Also the host of the Kimberly Guilfoyle show on...
Yeah, you probably did have to write that part down. That's easy to forget. It's a tongue twister, and it's, kind of obtuse.
Rumble. You can follow her on X at Kim Guilfoyle.
Yeah, I can, but I'm not going to.
Kim, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it.
It's Kimberly. Oh, we're friends, right? Sorry.
This morning, Hunter Biden does not show up for his deposition. I guess he's trying to hold fast to his position that he's willing to come to a...
I think he's working his way towards a joke, maybe. Usually when he starts waddling like this, he's about to lay into some sort of sarcasm. Let's see if it turns out that way.
To a public hearing, but he's not willing to sit down with the oversight committee and be deposed. What do you make of this?
Nope, it's just a direct question. He just doesn't know anything today.
As a former prosecutor yourself, what do you make of this shenanigan with Hunter Biden?
Yeah, it's just more of the same. I'm sure
it is more of the same.
He'd show up if they were going to pay.
Yeah, it basically he's doing the same thing that, I don't know, who can I think of? Jim Jordan did.
Because, Hunter Biden, that whole family loves the grift. But, he's too good for the justice system. Obviously, they have so much to hide.
What's the justice system? This is Congress. This isn't the justice system. This is pre the justice system. You do know that these committees, and even, in this particular instance, because he's not an elected official, they can impeach him. So if anything, they can recommend charges to the DOJ. But this is before the Justice Department even enters the question.
There's so much.
And by the way, he's already answered the Justice Department stuff. He's already gone through a plea deal and all that kind of stuff. And now he's going to go to court.
Corruption.
He's also going to show up at that court, by the way. He'll be there for that. This bullshit.
There. No surprise that he didn't want to show up. He doesn't want to actually go behind closed doors, because what happens when you do that is they can go for an extended period of time. It's much shorter if you have a public hearing. So that's just one way he's trying to dodge it.
Really? You do realize Hillary did 11 hours of Benghazi testimony.
I'm just not surprised at all. I mean, this is just going to be another delay, an excuse, Hunter Biden, and, covering up for this family. Quite frankly, they have
frankly
been giving them a pass for so long now.
Oh my God, they keep the Republicans especially is terrible.
But the American people are getting very tired of it.
Yes, well, not all of them. Obviously, a very small minority of them, and the majority is too busy going to like football games and shit.
I mean, there is so much evidence, of corruption with.
Is there like what?
This Biden family?
Yeah, just say so.
Money trail.
With the money trail.
The case that they're going after him for is just rudimentary, taxes. Something so basic. They're not doing anything about the foreign lobbying, about the 20 million, all of the stuff with the shady business entities. You heard.
Yeah, you can't charge someone with a violation of your opinion of what constitutes shady.
Heard all the evidence about Joe Biden with 300 different email aliases to.
He doesn't have 300 different. Oh my God. Stop just adding zeros to shit. She's been hanging around the Trumps.
Communicate with him. The whole thing is just.
Is this what happens when you hang around with people who add 10 floors to a building and think no one will check? Literally tell someone you're getting financing from that the building you own has 10 more floors than it actually does. Does she get it through osmosis?
Outrageous. And Joe Biden.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Aliases to communicate with him. The whole thing is just outrageous. And Joe Biden has lied repeatedly to the American people.
Okay, it's outrageous. She knows it's bullshit. That's what she said.
What he said, he knew nothing about Hunter's dealings. We've got photos, emails, text messages showing that all of that is just a complete lie.
No, it isn't.
And they've got money coming in, compromising us from a national security and foreign policy perspective.
How so? If the money came from Ukraine or business in Ukraine, we're supporting Ukraine. The vast majority of Americans support Ukraine. Our European partners support Ukraine. If you support Russia, you might be ticked off, I suppose.
Money coming from China, money coming from Romania, money coming from Ukraine.
Right. What have we given Romania during the Biden administration? I'm serious. What? Did we tip them off? Did we give them satellite photos of where Andrew Tate was running his sex trafficking ring out of?
Ukraine and others. So it's just, it's a very long and extensive money trail. That's hard facts and evidence.
No, it isn't.
And at some point,
it's hard for you to recognize that facts don't equal evidence.
There will be accountability, even if it means.
Yes, accountability. Ability to look at those accounts and then meet Billy at the counter.
Means Donald Trump getting in office, and winning the election in 2024. And that's not him being a dictator, but he will put people in that will actually respect the rule of law.
Uh-huh. You mean like Bill Barr?
Follow the law.
You mean like Jeff Sessions?
The facts, the evidence, apply it, and make sure that there is justice.
By the way, don't feel bad, Dinesh. Whenever anyone looks at Kimberly Guilfoyle's face for very long, they start melting.
While you've got all of this stuff with Biden.
All this stuff. Yeah.
On the other hand, you've got President Trump, former President Trump in New York.
Yeah, former is important.
New York, having to waste time, waste resources dealing with this case in which there are evidently no victims at all.
Again, this is the whole thing. No, this was money that wasn't loaned out that he didn't get, that he took from other people because there's a limited amount of money that banks can loan out. And if they're loaning it to him, they're not loaning it to other people who might have deserved it more.
There's not a bank that's come forward and said, hey, we made these loans. We got.
Deutsche Bank forgave $230 million worth of loans because he found a backfill investor that still nobody knows who the fuck they are.
Some fallacious information. We never got paid back. So what is it like just as a family to go through this?
I don't know. They're not married. She's his girlfriend. She's Junior's girlfriend.
I would imagine surreal experience with a.
Yes. I would imagine being around Kimberly Guilfoyle is a surreal experience.
A biased judge in New York City.
It's absolutely terrible. And, first of all, like I've said so many times, there is no fraud here, like you've indicated, Dinesh. The banks did their own due diligence,
like you've indicated.
When you and I apply for a loan or a house, etc., they check the paperwork, they check your assets, they verify your income, and they make a decision to give you a loan. Then you pay that loan back. You don't have any late payments or anything like that.
Again, this is all bullshit. Hold on. Real quick. I don't know where the fuck to start with this. Okay. Trump sued. So, see. Yeah, here you go. This is from Forbes, and this is one of the reasons why it's pretty rich that Forbes is saying something like this, considering how Trump bullshitted his way onto the richest, whatever the 500 list that the Forbes top 100 or top 500, whatever he was. Trump's lender fell for lies about how big and possibly how profitable his properties actually were. The New York Attorney General is suing Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. Deutsche Bank's credit report describing 40 Wall Street as one of Trump's many buildings is loaded with errors. The 72-floor tower and consists of 1.3 million square feet of premier office space, the report says. Based on a SF assumption, Deutsche Bank indicated an adjusted value of $541.6 million. According to documents filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the building is only 63 stories, not the 72 Trump often claims. Those same records also show that 40 Wall Street doesn't have 1.3 million square feet of office space, instead containing 1.1 million square feet of office space and less than 1.2 million square feet of overall space. The square footage mistake alone could have theoretically caused Deutsche Bank to overvalue the property by $50 million. Trump's lies also affected Deutsche Bank's understanding of Trump Tower. The 68-story building contains residential condominiums that are owned by residents, along with 178,000 square feet in commercial space, 114,000 square feet of retail space, says the credit report. But the building does not, in fact, have 68 levels. Its floor numbers skip 6 through 13, tricking visitors into thinking the property is bigger than it really is. It also does not have 114,000 square feet of retail space. An SEC document says it has about 60,000. Deutsche Bank valued Trump Tower at $349 million. Its credit report does not explicitly say how the square footage miscalculation might have figured into its appraisal. I'll tell you how. They took it at face value. The bank did not trust all of Trump's numbers, but it underestimated the depths of Trump's lies, an error that Forbes also made in the past. You think? The bank's biggest miscalculation might have been in assessing Trump's club collection, composed of Mar-a-Lago, an assortment of U.S. golf clubs, and 3 overseas golf resorts. Trump valued these properties, which the report suggests threw off an average of roughly $20 million of annual cash flow, at more than $2 billion. Sorry, $20 million of annual cash flow. More than $2 billion. Deutsche Bank slashed that valuation almost in half, listing the properties at $1.2 billion. But the discounted figure was still about $500 million higher than the roughly $700 million Forbes came up with after consulting more than a dozen industry experts. Deutsche appears to have taken a more careful approach with properties against which it held mortgages. Trump's hotel in Washington, D.C., golf resort in Miami, property in Chicago. Still, there are questions about whether it fully understood those assets. The credit report states that the golf resort threw off $12.6 million of net operating income in 2017, but an income statement submitted to authorities in Miami, which Forbes obtained via the Freedom of Information request, lists net operating income at just a third of that amount, $4.3 million. They're losing fucking money all the time. That's what he borrows money to, is to like shore up these failing properties. Now, and again, if you want to get in the failing property business, I guess that's your ass. But Deutsche Bank and all these other banks have investors, and they have a fiduciary duty to those investors to not give out frivolous loans to lunatics like Donald Trump. Now, here's the other thing. Let's see, Trump Tower, I think it's Chicago, 230 million. Lawsuit. Yeah, that'll work. That should find it. Let's see. Corrupt. Hold on. Yep. There we go. Trump Tower River misuse. Yeah, here you go. 2008. So, get back. I mean, this page isn't working. Make it reload. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I don't know why that page didn't come out. Hold on. Trump Tower, Chicago. Forgiven loan. That'll do it. That should find it. Yeah, here you go. Business Insider. There you go. Let me show you this. Trump had $270 million in debt forgiven after failing to repay lenders for his 92-floor Chicago skyscraper, according to a New York Times report. According to Reality, this is from 2020, by the way. $270 million. Just fuck it. We don't need it. We're good. President Donald Trump has had more than $280 million in debt forgiven since 2010. The New York Times first reported most of it was linked to money he owed lenders for the construction of a massive skyscraper in Chicago, according to tax return records and loan documents viewed by the paper. When Trump failed to pay the money back, the lenders initially gave him more time before eventually forgiving the debt, the Times reported. Trump tweeted Wednesday morning that he was able to make an appropriately great deal with the numerous lenders on a large and very beautiful tower. Does that make me a smart guy rather than a bad guy? Trump Tower had $270 million worth of debt forgiven by lenders that he failed to pay back for a 92-floor skyscraper. An analysis of his tax return by the newspaper revealed that when construction of Trump International Hotel and Tower hit financial trouble, a big bank and a hedge fund granted years of extra time to pay back his debts. So don't give me this fucking bullshit about there were no late payments. They were not behind on anything. Everybody was happy. It's nonsense. And much of this debt was forgiven. Trump tweeted Wednesday morning he was able to make an appropriately good deal. Records reviewed by the paper also suggest Trump paid minimal federal income tax on the forgiven debts because of large losses in his other businesses. Alan Garten, the Trump Organization's chief legal officer, told the Times that both the company and Trump had paid all their taxes due on the forgiven debts. In total, since 2010, Trump has had $287 million worth of debt forgiven, mostly stemming from construction of the Chicago Tower, which was finished in 2008. According to the documents viewed by the Times, Trump arranged for two of his companies to borrow more than $700 million for the building project. Trump got the majority of the money, $640, from Germany's Deutsche Bank. The report said while the rest came from the Fortress Investment Group, a private equity firm. When the loans were due in 2008, Trump International Hotel and Tower was still unfinished. Did you hear that? He hadn't finished the fucking building when the loans came due. What is about that? What's that shit about under budget and ahead of schedule? Deutsche Bank initially granted Trump a 6-week extension to repay the money. At this point, Trump's company owed Deutsche Bank around $334 million in principal and interest, and Fortress $130 million, not including interest and fees. When the bank declined his second request for extensions, Trump sued Deutsche Bank for predatory lending practices. Like he went to he went to a payday loan service. Fucking hell. And sought $3 billion in damages, according to the report. The bank then filed its own lawsuit demanding immediate repayment of the loan. In July 2010, lawyers for Trump, this is 2 years after the loans had come due. 2 fucking years. He kept them wrapped up in court. Trump, Deutsche Bank, and Fortress reached a private settlement, but didn't disclose the terms. But tax returns and loan documents viewed by the Times show that the lenders forgave Trump for $270 million worth of the debt. Previous Times report about Trump's taxes have found that he avoided paying federal taxes for 10 of the last 15 years and paid a total of $750 in federal income taxes in 2016, 2017. Again, this is 2008 to 2010. Listen to what she says again, just real quick. I don't want to hear this shit.
Or a house, etc. They check the paperwork, they check your assets, they verify your income, and they make a decision to give you a loan. Then you pay that loan back. You don't have any late payments or anything like that.
Any late payments or anything like that. He drugged Deutsche Bank and this private investment group through court and threatened to sue them for $3 billion because he was late getting the fucking building built and on the payments to repay it. 2 fucking years.
And then you get persecuted and prosecuted for it after the fact to say, well, you know what? We're questioning the valuation of one of your properties. But
no, all of them. They're all bullshit. 40 Wall Street has 10 fewer floors than he says it does. Fucking Trump Tower has, what, 8 floors less than it really does?
The whole
or it says it does?
thing is absurd. And as you know, the Attorney General, Letitia James, campaigned vigorously on going after Donald Trump. She does not care about the facts or the rule of law. She only cares about attacking Donald Trump and the family and the businesses to further her own political ambitions. And the people are seeing through it. And the judge has used gag orders, Sinesh, to prevent Team Trump from even talking about key aspects of the case while...
Nope. You can talk about key aspects of the case all you want. You just can't dox the fucking staff.
The AG...
It's super fucking narrow. This is just dumb.
She is outside and she can say whatever she wants.
Yeah, because she's not, giving out the cell phone number of Trump's attorneys or his staff or giving their apartment number or their address.
And accuse them of fraud and say that they lied on the stand.
Which is the exact same thing she's saying in court, very specifically.
It is unbelievable. As a former prosecutor and officer of the court, I have never seen anything like this.
Bullshit.
In my entire life.
Bullshit.
And they dragged the whole...
And also, parts of this, I guess that's true, because she's never seen a trial with a former president. Most of us haven't.
Family, and as you know, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, Ivanka had to go in. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, she didn't have to.
So un-American. It really, when you close your eyes, you say, wait a second, what country am I in?
I don't know. When you close your eyes, where do you feel like you are? Epstein Island?
How is this even happening?
How is this even happening? We're not supposed to have to deal with this, okay? This is what happens to poor people.
And we even heard earlier this week, Dinesh, from a very key expert witness, Eli Bartov, and he said...
The guy Trump paid $900,000 to.
That the whole case is absurd. He said there's absolutely no...
So he earned that money.
No evidence of accounting fraud whatsoever. So...
Well, the accountants weren't the problem. It wasn't about accounting. The math wasn't wrong. It was the figures going in that were off.
Yes, people tell me, Kimberly, this is going to be one for the, appeals court. I'm quite certain because the judge has prejudged this case that he is going to...
He's already judged it. This is just the damages phase. He already lost, dummy. That's on paper.
Find Donald Trump, liable and, impose some insane amount of money and fine against them. I don't know what's going to happen with...
If he's a billionaire, why is $250 million an insane amount of money? I know it's a lot. It's a lot to me. It's a lot to you. Ultimately, what's going to happen? He's going to have to give back the $270 million he was forgiven for the Chicago Tower. He got to have that money all this time, right? He didn't have to spend it. He sat on it. I guess it made interest. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Trump we're talking about. It clearly he lost that money on something stupid. Like Trump catheters or something.
Boys, Don Jr. and Eric, I would hope that he would not find something against them. Again, they did nothing wrong.
Well, then, if they did nothing wrong, why did Eric plead the fifth 400 times?
We'll be right back with Kim Guilfoyle.
Yeah, we won't. I got to say, nope. I don't need to sit through a break. It's not happening.
The host of the Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Why do you have to read that? It's her. She's on screen. That's her name. You don't have to read her like Guilfoyled again, snappy little tagline or some shit. What are you reading for? She's your friend, and everything is named after her name. Good Lord.
Show on Rumble. You can follow on X at Kim Guilfoyle.
No, he fucks it up even then. You tit. Did you guys notice that? Okay.
They did nothing wrong.
We'll be right.
All right. Yeah, who cares? Nobody cares. They did nothing wrong. It doesn't matter. Oi.
Back with Kim Guilfoyle, host.
All right. So, if I may, we have, let's see, dump this out. And by the way, where'd our lovely chat room go? My goodness. Where are you? There you are. Hi, chat room. Don't forget to hit that like. Super chats are very welcome. We're trying to buy 666 Fifth Avenue. I'm trying desperately to buy it, and I need your help. So, and when we hit 66.6 thousand subscribers, I mean, one would hope we would hit it right on winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? But when we do, it's going to be a party. That said, donate, help out, and if you can't, don't worry about it. Just thank the people who do. There you go. So, oh yeah, and Trump's selling his suit, right? So, and I think I have money troubles making my show run. I can't imagine what it's like to be in as much debt on as he is on Truth Social. Fuck. All right. So, anyways, like, subscribe. There's a Venmo over there as well. If you don't do the super chat thing, if you're on Facebook, please give me an angry emoji right now. Just use the the little moving emojis you can use on Facebook, and then write in there which one you used, because I can't see it in the chat, obviously. So just oh, I'm mad face, something like that. If you're on Twitch, bits, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. All right. There, I did the work. Now, I'm getting better at it. I am getting better at it. Okay, and thanks for reminding me. And then it's, of course, right there in the camera because I have my new teleprompter. Thank you, patrons. Patreon.com/HouseSparks. Look at that. I did that again, too. Please join. Please. Just please. Help us out. We're trying to get to 1,000, and then on Patreon and on Twitch. And we're trying to get to 100,000 on YouTube. That would be kicking. And the same thing on Facebook. 100K at both those places and 1,000 the other two. That would round it out well. That would help me buoy up some other folks. Just say it. Okay, here we go. We have goals. You got to have goals if you want to make it, my friends. You got to have goals. All right, so I guess, hold on. Do I have this? I think I have it somewhere. Let me look in here. Go in this thing, and then where would it be put? I was saying probably, I'll go to documents, probably in here, because I had a little thing. Maybe I put it, maybe it is in here already. Let's see. Because we have a little, there's the, no, I hadn't put it in there. I've got to put this in there, because I made a little thing. Is it still in assets? It probably is. Let's see. I made a little video for, well, I mean, I think this will work too. Future is popcorn. This is going to be part of what I would call the popcorn report. Just saying. But I made a video of it, which has got to be someplace. Where is it? It's just not in there. Weird thing. Okay, hold on. I'm going to find it because we're hanging out. We're doing our thing. We're doing all right. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. And okay, it's in that folder. And then we go to vids, probably in there. Yeah. I should just yeah, here it is. Maybe it works. Let's see. Come on, wish me luck. Let's do it. Yay, it's the popcorn report. All right. That's right, kids. Don't forget the popcorn report. This is where we watch as the GOP has a fucking meltdown because popcorn. All right. So this is when we see headlines like this, when Gorka is Gorka, Fox News on the side of Hunter Biden. I gotta say, guys, that feels pretty sweet. That feels pretty sweet. Let me move this in here. There we go. So we can fit this in. Rumble's very weird. Here we go. This is Fox News is on the side of hold on. I gotta do one other thing too. This is gonna drive me nuts. Is it in here? Let's go to
Mm-hmm. Nope. Nope. Nope, they didn't. I don't know why I said that. That's ridiculous. This is a little better. I was looking for goatee, and this is all I got. Hold on. Gorka! All right. That's you saw that right. You saw that right. Gorka! Here we go. So here's Gorka complaining that Fox News is trying to help Hunter Biden. I don't know how, but we'll find out.
And in the depths of my addiction, I was extremely irresponsible with my finances. But to suggest that is grounds for an impeachment inquiry is beyond the absurd. It's shameless. There is no evidence to support the allegations that my father was financially involved in my business because it did not happen.
Except for the wire transfers
from his brother to him that have nothing to do with Hunter.
From your company or one of your shell companies to your father.
No, you're missing a step. The idea is that he wired some money to, which was less than the 240, by the way, to James Biden, and James Biden and his wife paid Joe back before his campaign could start, so he wouldn't have any outside debts.
After the
or outside liabilities.
Chinese sent you money. Oh, and
like they sent Donald Trump money for the apartment in Trump World Tower.
Voicemail to your daughter and the text to your daughter when you.
There's no voicemail to his daughter.
Say, you'll never know what it's like, I hope, to have to give 50% of your income to your father. Meaning Joe Biden.
Right, but that wouldn't be if Joe is the brand and Joe is in charge, then why would Hunter think it was his income?
Greetings, dear friends. I'm Sebastian.
Yo, Gorka!
Sebastian Gorka. This is America First. That was Hunter Biden today on the steps of Congress in breach of his congressional subpoena.
Well, he couldn't go into the actual Capitol because he would be in there with Jim Jordan, who was in breach of his subpoena. And if you cross the streams, would be bad. Gorka.
He came to D.C., but he refused to testify behind closed doors.
I love the fact, can we just enjoy the fact that these dipshits have to keep saying behind closed doors? Isn't that nice? Isn't that cool? Like they can't, because he showed up to testify in public. So every time, I mean, this is, if you're going to talk about a way that like Hunter Biden has really fucking played these morons, all of them have to say, refuse to testify behind closed doors. It's kind of fucking sweet. It really is. And believe me, he knows it because he's Gorka.
He looked worried. He didn't look healthy. And he tried to blame it all on his addiction.
Dude, is there a mirror anywhere near you?
Just a couple of questions. Why do you and your father and your uncle have 21 shell companies?
They don't. They have 21 shell companies.
Why did you get an...
Why are you reading these things? You don't have them memorized by now?
$83,000 a month no-show job for the most corrupt energy company in Ukraine?
I think the bigger question is why did it go from corrupt to not corrupt during his tenure? That's kind of the interesting part, don't you think? It was horribly corrupt, and then it managed to stabilize. Totally functional now.
A company called Burisma that was investigated.
Excuse me, that is not how you pronounce it.
The Burmese executives So this Burmisia, they say, pronounce it Burmisia.
Yeah, get it right, Gorka.
By the chief prosecutor of Ukraine, until your father, the then vice president, told the government, as he has admitted on camera,
Admitted on camera. He was bragging, fuckwad.
fire that chief prosecutor.
Or you won't get the third installment of $1 billion.
Or I'm not going to release the $1 billion worth of trade credit from the United States.
Loan guarantees, but what have you.
And why?
It wasn't trade credit. It wasn't like American goods. And why? Because the World Bank didn't want to give. Yeah, I don't know why it's just Rumble. It's just the video. The volume is low. I'm sorry. Apologies. We'll give up on it in a second because he's not going to tell us anything we know. We don't know already.
We have multiple photographs of your father with you and your quote-unquote business associates.
Why are you fucking whispering? They give Biden shit for whispering, and this is how he's going to run this. And by the way, no, you don't. You have one picture from the World Food Bank dinner. He took pictures with everyone there. It was the World Food Bank. All right. Gorka, we are done today. I am through with you, Gorka. No more Gorka. That is our rule. And so we say it, and so it shall be done. Gorka, we banish thee back to the nether realms from which you come. Now take your bloody bottle of aquavelva, your bangers and mash, and your adult diapers, and get the flock out of here. Gorka! I have spoken. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I enjoy it. I think that's about time. I mean, you can't go wrong with Gorka. Yeah. That's funny as a Rogan. Oh, that's good. I don't know, some people take that very seriously as the goat as a devil worshiping thing. And I don't know if that's really a thing. You'd have to add, I don't know. Delightful. Jamie, put up on the big screen the thing that I read about how goat's blood mixed with psychedelics will make you see the inversion of Burning Man. And then, I don't know, there's an elevator that opens up in the ground, and which would be a descalator or something because it goes down, doesn't elevate anything. But anyways, remember the thing I said about down elevators are still elevators, and they were saying conveyance, and I was saying lift, but sometimes they lower. Remember that part? Oh, you weren't here. Fuck, was I high? Wait, I'm alone. So, this is, if I may, you like the goat? I think the goat's a winner. I think we ought to keep the goat. You're right. It's good stuff. I will save the goat for later, just in case. Just and just on the possibility that we might need him for later. I don't know if that'll be the case, but we'll give it a goddamn shot. I can tell you this. All right, hold on, and back to this one, and we'll go here. There we go. Now. If I may, hi chat room. There we go. This is just me dicking around. What are you doing, Toad Rogan? Joe Brogan. I like Joe Brogan as a name for that guy. I think it's good. All right, so just maybe we'll find a better audio of it, because Judge Jeanine thinks the exact same thing that she's on Fox News. I guess she doesn't. I don't think she thinks she's supporting Hunter Biden, but she definitely thinks that the same thing as Kimberly Guilfoyle, which is shocking because I guess they both go to the same lip filler person, to ill effect, I would say. But here we go. This is Judge Jeanine. Hunter gave Congress the middle finger. You're not going to say flipped him the bird or told him to fuck off?
All right, the House set to vote any minute on making the impeachment inquiry into President Biden official as his son claims.
Yeah, again, talk about kicking the fucking can.
MAGA Republicans are targeting him and his family. Hunter Biden showing up on Capitol Hill this morning and defiantly ducking the closed-door deposition.
See, they have to say closed door every time. Defiantly ducking The closed door deposition. They all have to say it. It's fucking brilliant.
Republicans had set up for him. Instead of honoring a congressional subpoena, the president's son demanding a public hearing while lashing out at the GOP lawmakers who wanted to question him.
For 6 years, I have been the target of the unrelenting Trump attack machine, shouting, "Where's Hunter?" Well, here's my answer. I am here, but I'm also here today to correct how the MAGA right has portrayed me for their political purposes. Republicans do not want an open process where Americans can see their tactics, expose their baseless inquiry, or hear what I have to say.
I gotta say, they hate this because it absolutely bends them over a barrel.
What are they afraid of? I'm here. I'm ready.
But Hunter Biden choosing his words very carefully on if his father, Joe Biden, was involved in his business dealings. Listen here.
My father was not financially involved in my business, not as a practicing lawyer, not as a board member of Burisma, not in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, not in my investments at home nor abroad, and certainly not as an artist.
Catch that? So the first son speaking out on camera, coming as a...
Right, because lately they have been using this thing about the money bouncing to and fro, around. He's answering that specific charge because their blather about him knowing the people or whatever didn't amount to a hill of beans. Devin Archer came in and said, in the 10 years that I hung out with him and worked with him, his dad called him every single day, and about 20 times he was in the middle of a meeting and all his dad said was, "How's the weather? How's the fishing?" They never talked business. That's what they said in the Devin Archer meeting. That was what they said. That's all they got. So then they moved to this whole bouncing monies bullshit. And by the way, they answered that at the time, and now they're answering this. This is so fucking stupid. They got more specific with their charges. He got more specific with his answer.
A shock to most people, but apparently not for President Biden.
The president was certainly familiar with what his son was going to say. And I think what you saw was from the heart from his son. When it comes to the president and the first lady, they are proud of him continuing to rebuild his life. They are proud of their son.
So what comes next for Hunter? The top Republicans, James Comer and Jim Jordan, not letting his subpoena snub slide. They are pledging to initiate contempt proceedings against the first son, Jesse Waters. I'm sure you were watching this, but you know a lot about it. When he said, "My father..."
Why? Did he advise Jim Jordan on avoiding his subpoena?
Was not financially involved. Did your ears perk up?
Well, that's a lie. And even if he
No, it isn't.
wasn't financially involved, he's logistically involved. He's
Logistically. Yeah, he did. He filled out all the TP reports.
personally involved. He's
Personally involved
because
he's Hunter's dad. I mean, that's it. How you not involved?
fly your son to 15 countries. You're logistically involved when you're personally involved, politically involved when you're meeting with all of his clients.
He didn't meet with all of his clients.
At the White House, at the vice president's residence, at the golf course, at the Four Seasons in Los Angeles. You're pretty involved. And then when you're doing favors for the clients.
What favors would those be?
Like when you're firing the prosecutor, writing the Ukrainian.
Oh, fuck you. All right. Look, I'm just going to have to jump in and push this out because this is, I got to say, this Jim Jordan lie is now everybody's fucking lie. And so I'm just going to, in a move that I think is totally fair and completely reasonable, I'm going to play my own video for you real quick to see if you like it. And there we go. Let's jump in here, which is doing very well, by the way, this video, if I do say so my damn self. Let's go to content and we'll grab this guy and we need to go to the actual, we'll go to here and then we'll go to the link and I'll bring this in. There we go. Hold on. Boink. This will be. Hi there, everybody. So I did this earlier because it just drove me crazy, but this is one of the key points of Jim Jordan's dumbest Hunter Biden lie so far. It has to do with a timeline of a phone call from Dubai to watch. You know what? Let Jim Jordan tell you.
Was this meeting that took place December 4th, 2015 in Dubai.
December 4th, 2015 in Dubai.
where Hunter Biden and Devin Archer are meeting with executives from Burisma, the guys who run Burisma, Mr. Zolochevsky. And of course, 5 days after this meeting, December 9th, 2015, Joe Biden goes to Ukraine and starts attacking the prosecutor.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Now, why is it his biggest, dumbest lie so far? Well, come with me, won't you? Come on, come here. This is the vice president's itinerary written in November of 2015. You guys have seen this. Before the phone call and before the trip.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Section 1 of his goals and objectives is background. And in this, you'll find this little chestnut. You should recommend that they're talking about Petro Poroshenko, give a State of the Nation speech to the Rada in which he re-energizes that effort and rolls out new proposed reforms. There is wide agreement that anti-corruption must be at the top of this list, and that reforms must include an overhaul of the Prosecutor General's office, including removal of Prosecutor General Shokin, who is widely regarded as an obstacle to fighting corruption, if not a source of the problem. And that's why this is Jim Jordan's dumbest Hunter Biden lie so far. All right. That is also now officially, if I may, and I do think I can, Jesse Waters' biggest dumb lie too. The decision to fire Shokin was made well before any input from anybody that's even alleged by Hunter and his pals and its business associates. You understand? December 4th when the phone call happens, December 9th when the speech happens, and when Biden gives his talk about how he's not giving him $1 billion. That was already decided in November, before Thanksgiving, for fuck's sake. You could almost make the case, this is the problem, this is the biggest problem for these assholes, is that you can make the case that if they did call on the 4th, it's because Hunter knew that he was going to go for the firing of Shokin, and they went, fuck, no, because they'll bring in somebody who will actually do this, and we've got him on the bribe hook. We're bribing him to leave us the fuck alone. If they swap him out, they're going to really come for us. That might have been the phone call. That's a very strong possibility if they handed it to anybody. Now, obviously, Joe didn't speak to him that day. They called someone in Washington, whatever the fuck. That doesn't matter. The point is that if that phone was effective, it was only effective in basically pointing, I guess, out to Shokin or to Zlochevsky and those other folks that Hunter couldn't change his dad's mind about anything. You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's a blank check, or you're not popping the balloon, or you're shutting down the FBI task force of China, or you're lifting Trump tariffs on.
They didn't shut down the FBI task force on China. They renamed it because it sounded like you were going after every Chinese person. It's supposed to be a short. I don't know why it didn't upload as such, but I'll do it again.
Cheap solar panels. Yeah, you're doing favors. You're writing letters of recommendation for the people. Come on, everybody.
Letters of recommendation. It's fucking espionage. Jesus Christ. There's the Rosenbergs, and then there's Biden writing fucking letters of recommendation for Hunter's friends' kids.
He knows he's involved. Now, Hunter,
after he left office,
says he's ready. He's not ready.
He seems ready.
He's not going to testify today.
That was the statement he was going to give. Now, again, he didn't have to get ready because those guys chickened out.
And he says he's here. He wasn't in Congress. He was on the Senate. It's
the same fucking building, dummy.
Have to get arrested for contempt.
He wasn't in front of the Senate office building.
Because Bannon tried to do the same stunt. Navarro tried the same stunt. Didn't work. They were both handcuffed. The Trump family had to sit for depositions. They sat for House, Senate, depositions, hours. They didn't pull theatrics like that.
Well, they didn't have to because they knew that the Democrats would either never use it. They ended up not using their footage unless they testified in public.
No way he's going to get away with this. And
yeah, he is.
He's racking up another charge.
Nope.
This guy has some nerve. I love how we say that,
Yeah, go somewhere with this. Try to find your way out.
This guy is clean and Joe Biden's clean. So where's the $1.6 million in cash that Hunter Biden withdrew over 3 years?
Well, apparently it went to hookers.
No one's curious about where the cash went?
No one is. Because he was in Europe, surrounded by sketchy fucks.
Is it sewn into windbreakers in Joe's closet like Gold Bar Bob?
He doesn't need it to be. He made money from his book and from speeches as a vice president.
I mean, you got missing cash.
You don't have missing cash.
You got missing diamonds. No one's curious about where all this goes.
He was an addict.
I mean, you got Hunter Biden.
Here's what I want to know. Where the fuck is Trump's $270 million? Where's the $76 million he got from that tax refund he wasn't supposed to get, that he was fighting so he wouldn't have to return it, and he called it an audit so he wouldn't have to turn over his taxes when he was president and running for president?
2018, according to Dave Weiss in the indictment, the indictment says Hunter Biden made $2.1 million in 2018, and he goes, there was no evidence of any business. He didn't conduct any business, and there was no business travel. So Hunter Biden is being indicted for not paying taxes on his bribes.
No, it isn't. Look, Comer's description of it is bullshit. That's the time when the deal was being made for the CEFC purchase of the natural gas plant. That's what that was. That's where that money came from.
What's going on here? And why were people bribing Hunter Biden? Because
I don't know, because his dad was no longer in office.
He was selling access to the Biden brand.
What the fuck is the Biden brand fucking worth when Donald Trump is in office?
Obviously.
What's his legal positioning, Judge, or your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, in a not so legal phraseology, Hunter Biden gave Congress.
She has to really. You want to say Hunter Biden gave Congress the middle finger, and you had to look at the paper to do it? Would he been taking speech lessons from Greg Gutfeld?
The middle finger today. Hunter Biden.
She did. She wrote that. That's what I mean. Like, here, look. That's her looking down at her paper to look at her note that says Hunter Biden gave Congress the middle finger.
Congress the middle finger.
And flub the fucking line, too.
Today. Hunter Biden is bound by the law, just like Steve Bannon and
just like Jim Jordan,
and just like everybody else who's been held in contempt. Steve Bannon, from the time he refused to come in and honor the subpoena.
Yeah, but Steve Bannon was a participant in January 6th. They had text messages between him and Trump. He was part of the administration. He worked in the administration. He had a job in the administration. Hunter did not.
Within a year, he was sentenced. So, I mean, this can move very quickly, and it must. There has to be respect for law. You can't go out there and say, you know, my father loves me and I had a problem and the MAGA people are after me. No, the MAGA people are not after you, Hunter. What the MAGA people and every other American are after is equal justice.
What the fuck are you talking about? If we're talking about equal justice, well, I mean, I don't know. Are women supposed to grab Donald Trump by the crotch and against his will?
They don't want to hear about a guy making millions of dollars in foreign countries and then watching the policy play out in this country where it seems to benefit the other countries.
Oh, really? Does it? Like what?
As Jesse has so eloquently laid out, whether it's popping the balloon, whether it's
popping the balloon. So the Chinese spy balloon, letting it fly over the country and not popping a balloon as it travels over the country that could very possibly have a bioweapon in it or small drones in it or any number of things, like the stuff you would be curious about, and waiting till it gets out over water, just jamming it and then waiting till it gets out over water and then shooting it down and then salvaging it. That's what China paid for. So let me get this straight. China did all this shit just so that they could lose their spy balloon that they flew over the nation at least 4 times when Trump was president, if not more, that we never heard about until after. And then they bribed Biden to shoot down their balloon. Also, COVID, anyone?
3 days after there is a meeting and his son is told about.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
The prosecutor on Burisma. 3 days later, after Hunter calls his father, Joe gets on a plane to Ukraine and threatens with $1 billion of our money, get that prosecutor off my son's company.
No. The guy they replaced him with went after Zlochevsky. Zlochevsky had to flee the fucking country after that. He didn't have to flee the country when Shokin was in charge. This is exactly what I'm pointing out. These motherfuckers, again, like, I don't know how goddamn stupid they expect you guys to be. But let me open this up again. This is for you, Judge. Monday, the 23rd of November, 2015. This is weeks before the phone call and before the trip. The trip was already scheduled for the 7th through the 8th. It ended up being bumped. This is his itinerary. These are the talking points that the entire administration and the Department of State had gone over. Goals and objectives. Your visit to Kiev comes as invite. This is written to the vice president. This is his directive. With local elections in the rearview mirror and an economy that while still in difficulty seems to have moved back from the precipice, the time is ripe for Petro Poroshenko to reanimate his reform agenda. You should recommend, this is a directive, you should recommend that he give a State of the Nation speech to the Rada in which he re-energizes effort and rolls out new proposed reforms. There is wide agreement that anti-corruption must be at the top of the list and that reforms must include an overhaul of the Prosecutor General's office, including the removal of Prosecutor General Shokin, who is widely regarded as an obstacle to fighting corruption, if not the source of the problem. Reform priorities should also include the judiciary and standing up the new National Investigation Bureau, akin to the FBI. You will want to press Poroshenko to eschew radical plans and agree with Yatsenyuk on a 2016 budget and tax plan that are consistent with the IMF recommended program. By the way, the IMF was withholding $70 billion for Ukraine to get rid of this fucking guy because he was the wall between ending corruption in a lot of these industries. Fuck's sake. Poroshenko has prioritized privatization, and you should encourage the government to set up a mega holding company for 10 to 20 state-owned enterprises, which will help cut off traditional sources of corruption. Well, not if Shokin's still in fucking charge. This is just, it's so lazy. I find it aggravating.
Because that business, Burisma, was corrupt. It was going down.
And while he was there, it went from corrupt and going down to no longer corrupt and going up.
And the Bidens had to make sure that it could pass muster on Wall Street. That's what that was all about.
Pass muster on Wall Street?
And when
oh, you mean, oh, I see what you mean. So you mean the Wall Street investors who were investing in oil and gas in Ukraine were worried that their money was going to fuck off to Russia like it had done 8 times before. And so they wanted somebody in there that could make sure the money didn't leave. And Hunter Biden was uniquely suited because he was the vice president's son to make sure it. I mean, he wasn't going to go live in Russia under Vladimir Putin's protection like everybody else.
And Hunter Biden says, my father was not financially involved. As a prosecutor, every antenna goes up. So if your father was not financially involved, first, Joe says he knows nothing of his son's business. Next, he's not involved in his business. Now he's not financially involved. Then,
yes, because they're being specific. Because Comer and these assholes are putting these stupid little single line charts up that go, money went from here to here, money went from here to here, then it went to here, and then it bounced over here, and then went down here, and then I think this money was still the same money from here when it got to here. That's why they're saying financially.
It begs the question, and it begs an impeachment inquiry. How was he involved then? If he wasn't...
He wasn't.
Financially, tell me all the
spiritually, psychosexually. Yes, he lorded over it. It was an eyes wide shut kind of thing. He was the guy in the mask and the robe standing up on the balcony.
Gratuitous ways he was involved. And we do that with the emails. We do it with his so-called stolen laptop, which he's already admitted is his.
No, he hasn't. There are materials that are on the laptop that are real. There's a bunch of fakery on it. The pictures of him are real. That's stolen. That's put in there. That's from his phone. That happened in Ukraine a long time ago. Like, do we all have to like reset to stupid every time these assholes speak? Do they just think we're all that dumb, or that we'll like just throw the idiot switch? So we're like, oh, I guess I never really thought about it. Like, I don't really think about things. I couldn't think of any way this could possibly happen other than what you're saying.
And there is proof, pictures, photographs, emails, business partners. And the crazy part of this thing is he says, I want to speak in front of the United States people. Wait a minute, wasn't it the Democrats, Jesse, who had that impeachment inquiry in the bottom of the basement of the House where Nancy Pelosi said for 2 years, you know, we've got to do it down here. We don't want anybody upstairs interfering with the impeachment.
And then they destroyed all the tapes.
And then they destroyed it.
Nobody destroyed any fucking tapes.
And the last thing I want to say, the last point I want
all that evidence is still available. Like, it's silly.
to make is this. Stop with this.
And it's still on the internet, for fuck's sake. Like, these are the edits that they made of the stuff. The actual documents and the actual video footage they used is all still available. And it's time-coded, unlike the fucking garbage that Tucker Carlson put out.
Drug addiction nonsense. Because a lot of
this drug addiction nonsense.
The counts in the latest indictment are post-addiction. All you have to do is read his book and know that he was no longer addicted and he still wasn't paying taxes.
He said several times, Greg, that it's the MAGA Republicans that are coming after me. So it's like you might be able to get the media to write that story for a couple of days. But Chris Murphy is a Democrat from Connecticut, a senator, friendly with the Bidens, of course. Over the weekend, he said that a lot of the charges seem legitimate to him.
Mm-hmm. It was a stunning.
Yeah, the tax charges. Duh.
Press conference.
Oh, yeah, we can do Ficus shorts, sure.
It's stunning for me to finally see.
See what?
Hunter speak with pants on. It was disorienting. It's like seeing Santa without a shirt on or Jesse without his hairpiece. You just can't handle it. And to see his mouth move minus a crack pipe or a straw, it's like watching Lazarus do a back.
By the way, I'd like to bring you back to this whole idea, like, nobody was mocking him for his addiction. This is Fox News, man. This isn't like a Comedy Central roundtable show late at night or some fucking roast.
Flip. It was bizarre. He snubbed the closed door deposition because he.
See, even he has to say the closed door one.
Doesn't like anything closed, including his laptop or his bathrobe. And he says he wants a public hearing because he probably didn't notice the L in public. But I will say this. I will say.
The word pubic? Like, really? See what I mean?
I still would take him over his dad as president because this guy gets it done. This guy's successful. He's an American success story to get all that stuff. And the judge is right. It's easy for us to focus on the.
Jesus Christ, how many fucking notes do you have to try and hold your thoughts together on this? Fucking hell.
The hilarity and tragedy of his life.
Look at this mess. Look at Jessica. She's got her points because they've got the breakdown of the blocks and who talks first. That's the majority of what's there. She's probably got a couple of notes around the topics they're going to deal with or some facts that she wants to read directly so that they don't think she's just making them up or so that she doesn't flub them or reverse a number or something like that just in talking quickly. Meanwhile, look at this bizarre, dude, it's like he spread it out on the hood of a fucking car and he's trying to sell it to you. Like, this is my brother's car. I had the title here somewhere or whatever, but I really just need the cash.
Lifestyle. But it's also easy for him to exploit addiction as a shield. There are millions of people with drug and alcohol addictions who didn't do these things. Millions who didn't let.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of them who committed murder, too. What the fuck are you talking about? By the way, there's a reason why. I'll tell you why. Because most drug addicts aren't rich. Most of them, by volume.
Leverage political power and influence for foreign cash. People with addictions who didn't deny their own child or try to blame an errant gun on illegal aliens.
Okay, first of all, that shit, both of those happen all the fucking time. But tell me again about Mike Pillow, maybe. Is it wrong to bring him up at this point?
Asshole.
I just think it's important, you know what I mean? What's inside those lumpy pillows?
Lumpy pillows, kiss my ass.
All right. Don't be
Asshole.
Right.
Repeatedly lie to authorities or enjoy the protection.
Yes, drug addicts never repeatedly lie to authorities. Oh.
Asshole.
Of a famous name. There are millions of addicts who didn't do that.
Yeah, because most addicts aren't famous and they aren't rich. But the ones that are rich and famous do all that shit. All of it.
He just got a lot of breaks. He got more breaks than a million junkies. So I'm glad that he's making amends. Far be it from me to judge. But you can't blame others for impugning your own character, especially when it was a one-man show. And who else gets talk about breaks.
Yeah, tell me the breaks. What are they?
Else? A first-time artist gets an exhibit in Soho selling snot for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have no idea who's paying.
The same. By the way, these things are actually good. Here's the problem they always have. They show his artwork, and I gotta say, as a fan of Paul Stanley, let me show you something about Paul Stanley's art career. Paul Stanley of Kiss, my favorite band and my favorite member of the band. Let me show you something real quick. Here's his artwork. Hold on. Let me show you can almost do it. Okay. When he first started painting, I was a bit concerned. Okay. Because I was like, I don't know what you're doing. It looked like this. Most of his stuff looked like this. He started doing this stuff, and then he was doing like splotch shapes. And I'm like, okay, abstract, that's fine. But it's almost like, are you just painting? He was taking painting classes. And he was making these bigger paintings, and there were abstracts and that kind of stuff. And that's fine. That's totally fine. Buzz off, buddy. And then he started, and then stuff starts to form a little better. And then he started, working with like facial abstracts. And then over time, he started doing portraits and doing these kind of things, blues and purple, which is pretty great. I mean, that here, it's a little, let me make it smaller so you guys can see it. I guess you can't, whatever. It just shrinks the page. But like the abstract, like the crook of the knees, the drape of the hand, like that's rock solid, right? And this is basically the journey of a painter. This is him learning how to paint over time. And since he's who he is, this was an earlier one, right? Still pretty damn good. The eyes have content. The hands aren't there yet or whatever, but he's doing sort of a choppier look. Still very cool, right? He was doing peace signs, and then he did a couple of portraits. And these are just a few of them. Obviously, not all of them are for sale on here yet, but he worked on this shit. He got better at it over time, okay? And awesome. This is the stuff that Hunter Biden was making, like, kind of right out of the gate as abstracts. And it's pretty fascinating. So what he does is he does these, like, highly angled pieces, and then these splotches, he puts the paint in there, and then he makes the spheres by blowing from the center out using a straw, blowing out the holes in the circles in it. And then that's the piece. I gotta say, like, it may not be my taste or whatever. I may not hang that kind of shit in my house because it's not how but this is gallery level shit. I would not be surprised at all if I walked into a gallery and there was a run of this artist stuff on the wall and a bunch of people were like, oh, by the way, that's Joe Biden's kid. You know what I mean? Right? It's definitely distinct. He's not just fucking around. This is what his stuff looks like. This is an example. It's a good example of it. right? Like, again, it doesn't, it's not like, even like I said, the early Paul Stanley stuff, I was like, okay, he's doing like, here's another one. This is what I would see. Love number one. Let me go. See if I can find the one that I'm talking about here. Yeah. So he did, like, Paul did one of the Statue of Liberty. I like it. It's very cool, but it's definitely a rudimentary early version of shit. You know what I mean? And his stuff got better over time. Yeah, or like, and George Bush, by the way, was selling his paint by numbers, and that's because there's a giant market for presidential-related art in the world. Hell, half of these art things, anybody, you know about that, like, Masterworks, where people invest in parts of art, right? And they buy it. The reason nobody knows who owns his art is largely because Masterworks and these other groups buy art because of its historical significance, because of the, you know, the controversy around Hunter himself is enough to make this art worth something, right? So that's the thing. Again, I actually think that's good.
He could play the victim card, but no one else was filming him naked. It wasn't MAGA Republicans. They weren't the MAGA Republicans.
See, that one's pretty cool too. That's all done with the straw technique that he uses. That's when he's saying he's making these things with snot or something. That, but because he's blowing water, he's blowing the paint in. It is really cool. That one's actually excellent.
Republicans weren't pointing fire.
See what I mean? Like, when they fucking put this stuff up, you're like, I don't know, it's actually pretty that's better than I thought it would be.
Arms near, you know, terrified sex workers. You know, MAGA workers won't slyly implying that if you don't do what he says, you know, the big guy might, you know, come around. And
are you fucking kidding me? A maggot shot up the Cincinnati FBI office, you fucking dipshit.
And MAGA
a giant crowd of them attacked the Capitol for Trump.
Republicans didn't write the emails about the big guy. So I think the only way.
No, Bobolinsky did.
The way that Hunter is a victim is he's a victim of his dad running for president. I think he was doing all this stuff under the assumption that dad was retiring.
Yeah. And how do you sell influence for somebody who's no longer in office?
He was building a big, vast retirement fund for Joe, and then
out of what? Joe ended up being the one with money, his book sales and the speeches afterwards, and the fact that he didn't have to spend a single dime of his vice presidential salary while he was in office because they lived fairly reasonably.
Joe all of a sudden is running, and he's like, oh, holy crap, you're out of your mind. And then, well, he still is. But now Hunter's like, holy crap, now the spotlight's on him.
All right, Jessica.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the story. That's what you're going with?
The floor.
Great. So much to choose from. Like a lazy Susan of crazy.
We'll pick a couple.
Okay. So.
A crazy Susan. That's what the 5 is, I would argue. I would make an argument that the 5 is a crazy Susan.
I look forward to most likely be Jesse, who will next have Jim Jordan on your show. And you can ask him.
He literally had him on that night. I don't know that she knows that, but he filled in for Hannity, and both of them came on.
About the subpoena from the January 6th committee that he's flouted for years now, hasn't turned up. No respect for the rule of the law, as Judge Pirro would say. So you can list all these other people, but I want to see Jim Jordan being pushed on that, and I think you're the man to do it. Hunter was
subpoenaed by Jan 6?
Yeah.
And he skipped it?
Yeah.
So he.
What? Holy fuck! You don't know that?
Can get arrested.
Great. So we're arresting Jim Jordan.
You're in charge of the arresting people.
Okay. Oh, right, because we control all of law enforcement.
Control DOJ.
Oh, okay. Hunter made a lengthy statement about why he wanted to testify in public, and there's some important details in it. And I understand that he got subpoenaed a certain way for a closed-door testimony, but it matters when he gives clear examples of the fact that Republicans have completely distorted his record, his bank records, his emails, and we saw what they did with the Devon Archer testimony, right? They emerged from that saying Devon Archer said that Joe Biden was behind this, et cetera. And then you listen to the other people who are in the room. You listen to like Dan Goldman, for instance, and then eventually the transcript was produced where Devon Archer said the complete opposite, that Joe Biden wasn't personally profiting from this. There was no evidence of it. Victor Shokin was not fired by Joe Biden to protect his son. First of all, Joe Biden could not have gotten the entire international community to do it. It's just a load of hooey.
That's hooey.
No,
there
it's
was
not.
no large international community.
Of course there was.
One person.
Even down, Christine Lagarde.
It was after the fact.
Christine Lagarde, which is the head of the IMF.
International community.
No, yes, it is.
One
It's
person.
the heads of. It's not one person, and it's Senate Republicans, a whole bunch of them. Republicans are freaking out because
I gotta send Jessica this memo. I have to send. We're gonna send it to you so you have it the next time this dumb shit comes up again. Fuck, I'm gonna do it right now. I don't care. Hold on one second. Can I put a PDF on this? I guess I can do a link to it or something like that. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do it right after the show is done tonight. I'm sending it. I'm gonna if somebody let me know if she's got a Twitter. Somebody, I assume she does. And I'll tag Gutfeld and Jesse and all of them in it. Yep. Yeah. I should interview Jessica. That's right. We should reach out to her. I would love that.
the beginnings
Will she trust a link? I'll post it online. She can look at it there.
of this impeachment inquiry, which has been going on, or fact-finding has been going on since they took the majority about a year ago, has turned up absolutely nothing.
Really?
Yeah, really. And again, I say you should be leading, Judge, because Jim Comer is not up to this. Jim Jordan, cite him again, on with Varney, talking about what the impact is going to be. Driving down Biden's poll numbers. Troy Nehls, or Niels, I don't know how to pronounce his name, said the same thing. What's going to be the outcome of the impeachment inquiry? Trump 2024, baby. This morning, Maria Bartiromo has Nancy Mace on. She says, hey, Nancy, nice to see you this morning. Thanks for getting up early with us. What you got, right? Where are the policy changes that came as a result of being
That's the other ask that Maria Bartiromo is stupid enough to ask this shit all the time.
paid off? Nancy Mace.
I'll tell you
I don't have anything. I said, go get another. I love being with you, but you had the committee if you have all the answers. Congressman Don Bacon, probably not about Biden committing high crimes and misdemeanors. Chuck Grassley, I have no evidence where I can say the president is guilty. GOP aides, obviously, they don't want to lose their jobs. An unmitigated disaster. Comer has lost control, and he has botched this bad.
That's the whole
Catch your breath.
point.
I could just name one right there. So the Russian billionaire gave him $3.5 million and a Porsche Panorama, and then he left the.
Okay, first of all, fuckwad, the Porsche Panorama payment came from the guy from Kazakhstan, specifically over a gas deal that ultimately benefited Kazakhstan to Russia's detriment. For the record, and not the same person. Yelena Baturina gave the $3.4 million. The former mayor of Moscow's wife gave that money to Devon Archer. Devon Archer runs the realty investment scheme.
Lady off the sanctions list.
She was never on the sanctions list. She's not in any industry. The money she has is because her husband fucking died. She didn't commit crimes with him.
Right there.
So we'll have more to come on
And
this.
within a month,
That's a policy.
within a month, the Russian lady and Hunter meet with the head of Biden. He gets put on the board of Burisma.
One thing we can be sure of,
Yelena Baturina didn't have anything to do with fucking Burisma. I looked this up. They've been saying this lately, and she's repeating basically the same sentence from this idea. But I think they're conflating shit that like Comer had a brain fart, or I'll show you, like in the Jim Jordan thing. Let me show you something real quick. And by the way, hi chat room. I'm going to bring you back in for a split second while I go look for this so you can talk amongst yourselves. In the interview that I used for the clip that I did earlier today, and there are myriad opportunities. Whoops, sorry, one second, go back here. There are myriad opportunities where I could go and, find Jim Jordan saying this stupid fucking bit all over and over and over again, right? Where he's talking openly. There we go. Hold on one second. This. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so he was on.
And Devon Archer are meeting with the.
Okay, so he was on Kudlow. This is what I was talking about. Okay, Let me show you just how stupid Jim Jordan is. I was trying to keep this whole thing tight to just the lie and not the weird mistakes. And I think where like Jeanine and like, because Jesse Waters just conflated two different people into one human being. Fuck's sake. Well, listen to what he says in full on this, in this description.
That I thought really stood out in yesterday's deposition or interview was this meeting that took place December 4th, 2015.
Remember, December 4th.
In Dubai, where Hunter Biden and Devon Archer are meeting with the executives from Burisma, the guys who run Burisma, Mr. Zolochevsky. They're meeting with them, and at this meeting, they say, the Burisma people say, we're under a lot of pressure. We need the United States government to help us out. And of course, 5 days after this meeting, December 9th, 2015, Joe Biden goes to Ukraine and starts attacking the prosecutor.
Okay, he goes to Ukraine and starts attacking the prosecutor. Now, that specifically, the time they're talking about is when he said, you're not getting the $1 billion if I don't get that. The problem with Shokin had been going on for fucking months. And I'll show you that in a second, too. But listen to how he flubs the timeline. And all of a sudden, it wasn't that, 5 days later, he gets the guy fired. Apparently, this went on for months after this. Listen, and yeah.
Now, also at that meeting on December 4th in Dubai, they have a phone call with D.C. Now, I don't know who it was. Mr. Archer said he didn't know. He wasn't right there when the phone call happened. He was at
Right. They called somebody in D.C. or they had a call with D.C., which, I'll show you in a minute how it did not change a fucking thing.
A different part of the hotel when that happened. But he knows that there was a call that took place, a call to D.C. Who they talked to, I don't know. But again,
I just got to say, knowing a lot of band members, I'll never forget when Sebastian Bach walked up to Cheech Marin backstage at the at Celebrity Duets, and he's like, "Dude, band meeting in the limo," and what he meant was they were gonna go smoke. That's what band meeting in the limo meant. That means we're gonna go out there and fucking pull a Spicoli.
Again, 5 days after this,
maybe a call to DC was their code for doing drugs together.
Joe Biden takes action.
Okay, here it is. This is I fucked up because this is listen to this.
Happened, but he knows that there was a call that took place, a call to DC. Who they talked to, I don't know. But again, 5 days after this, Joe Biden takes action, which is the start of this process that now has become somewhat well known, where Joe Biden a few months later says, where he gives this talk to the folks in Ukraine, says, if you don't fire Shokin, the prosecutor, you're not getting
5 months later
the money. I mean, ironically, the same thing they went after President Trump for in the impeachment.
Okay, first of all, no. Trump went against Congress and the and national policy to try and leverage with money that had already been allocated by the Congress to Ukraine, and he was going to pull that stuff back, even though the Congress in charge of the purse strings, and he'd already signed the release of those funds and the release of those weapons. He was going to go back on that, which is the opposite of what's happening here. Biden was just carrying out what the administration and the entire Congress wanted to do. And what's the fuck? How does this become 5 months after Shokin got fired? Then he's talking about this?
Joe Biden says he did it. That all starts in play on this December 9th speech he gives there. Again, 5 days after this conversation.
Again, the timeline is completely fucked and bullshit. Same thing that Jesse Waters is having a problem with now. He's literally conflating two people into one. Now, if I may, we can even do another quick deep dive. Hi, chat room. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, and support the show, because nobody else gives deep dive like I do. Come on now. All right. Because I think I can find this as well. Give me 1 second. And we'll go to history of what I was watching earlier when I was going through all this shit. And let's see. Yeah, so it was this one right here.
I want to thank Vice
President. That foreign election
week that went by, I wasn't on the phone with Bersani or Abadi or literally both cajoling.
This is by the way, this is the CFR gathering that you have seen the footage of so many times. This is an hour talk that he did at the Council on Foreign Relations with I guess one of his like his chief of staff or what have you. Yeah, Michael Carpenter. Biden and Carpenter wrote an article, How to Stand Up to the Kremlin, Defending Democracy Against Its Enemies, which is in the January-February issue of Foreign Affairs that year. And then they had, where is it? And this guy, Richard Haas, who was the president of the Council on Foreign Relations and wrote a book called A World in Disarray. They talk about a myriad of fucking issues in this whole thing. Like they're going over all these things. And let's see, I'll get to see if we can get, after he puts his cards down, that's when he says, well, son of a bitch.
Of election meddling. And so this gets
up evidence planned. To the best of my knowledge, I may be mistaken. The staff I have at Penn includes my national security advisor and the president's Colin Powell and Tony Blinken and Bill and a number of very serious folks who played major roles in that. Hillary one would be playing major roles in this administration. And when I'm told,
by the way, at UPenn, where the classified documents were found, one of the reasons why they were in those boxes he may not have known is because he literally had his national security advisor. Everybody in his staff that had national security clearance, he was keeping the band together at UPenn.
I keep asking, well, you must have picked up. They must be having some conversations. There must be a discussion going on as to how.
So he's talking about the failures of the Biden administration. The Biden administration, the Trump administration, and him talking to Pence regularly. Let's see.
Lost even further.
That's really, I think, helpful in getting that on.
And acknowledge, but I do not believe
what they quite honestly thought was something of a bait and switch.
Hold on, I'll see if there's a bit in
and we talk literally in Syria.
In the direction.
I forget where this was. I got to find is this
stability, which is about strategic weapons, but also about what we consider to be unacceptable.
About communicating specifically and control president and look to the
hold on.
I say well, explain what I mean. This was a moving that was not very detailed and it lead we wouldn't be in the position.
I'll find the part because he opens up. It's on the wide shot. That's how we know because it's been in that wide shot. You've seen it before.
In October, the electoral process because
this one states. I think that's
I think it's in here.
Russia.
She asked the question.
To go back, when I got here, the last vestige of that Cold War was Radio Free Europe and Radio.
Was it after her question? Her.
One of the total cause, but
they talk about a lot of the budget stuff, and then
sorry,
maybe it's after this.
That the Senate and at partnership.
He's talking about Israel and Palestine at one point.
Right spring, the kid who started me because so many can put that together to work out and have the country. There is not, and you
maybe did it earlier
or not.
Fuck me.
Actions that Russia was sort of went okay. Well, I'm not so sure. Well, of what Turkey just did in their than I have now, which is I don't think Russia can in fact.
Hold on 1 second. I'm backing up. And I know when he does it because he reaches across and touches this guy on the shoulder. I'll find it. Don't worry. There we go. That was it.
The outfit I used to work with about that. Expose the truth. As vice president, the headline in the paper was, it's probable no man has ever assumed the office of vice president with fewer assets than Joe Biden. I assume they weren't speaking intellectual assets.
Okay, that was the other time he touched his shoulder. Because these guys are all friends. Okay, hold on. I'll do it one more time. Maybe it was later than that. That's...
Yeah.
A lot of time, as did because I was do certain things or say whether that was true or not, the authority or so much time. Luckily, and that's when it all goes to hell.
Any
to call him.
Oh, there it is. There you go. Yeah, call him.
In what may or may not be some of the opportunities that exist.
Okay, found it. Now, finally.
Unlike the lie going on about Ukraine in Ukraine in a military sense, to be seen on the our own guarantees. And I went over to.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is the part I want to talk about. Okay, found it. All right, this is the part where he goes, Biden was the one who convinced him to give the loan guarantees in the first fucking place. We'd already done 2 rounds. There were 3. All right, now I'm fine. Now you're all caught up, and I'm sorry about the delay. But and from this point on, I know where the spot is in this. It's 52 minutes in. We'll remember that later. 52 fucking minutes. All right, here we go. 52 minutes in, he starts talking about this. This is the tail end of this fucking thing, where they've talked about everything from Russian interference in our elections, and they've talked about fucking Israel and Palestine, and whether there can be a 2-state solution, and all kinds of stuff. And he gets to the point where he's talking about how it led up to them having these loan guarantees and his story.
I was not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. And
wait, one second.
Kyiv in terms of corruption. They made. I mean, I'll give you one concrete example. I was not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. And so I got Ukraine and. I remember going over convincing our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over.
Okay, let that kind of drift through your transit for a second. So Biden is the one who's trying to convince them to give these loan guarantees in the first place. So why the fuck would he withhold them at all?
I guess the 12th, 13th.
Right, unless he knew it wasn't going to be spent right.
Time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee.
I was supposed to announce there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. They'd worked this out months before.
Guarantee, and I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't.
You hear that? I had gotten guarantees from them that they would get rid of this guy, that they would take care of him, and they hadn't done it. And the whole world wanted this fucker out of there.
So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him.
There you go. Call him. If Biden is going against the administration or is going rogue in this or is using leverage he shouldn't have, then the idea that what if they call his bluff? They call the fucking president. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. You listen to Joe. We talked about this. Bullshit.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And
also, for the record, Joe's not being completely direct about this because it's a little more nuanced than that. There was a vote by the next day by their, an overwhelming vote to get him out. He resigned, but there was a question about whether he would actually resign his post. So he officially gave his resignation that night, but they still had the vote, and he lost like 70-30.
And they put in place.
Oh, wait, and this is my favorite part. Besides call him, this is my favorite other part.
Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well, they made some genuine, substantial changes institutionally and with people. But in one of the 3 institutions, there's now some backsliding.
The courts are
there, yes, and they had made that.
He said the courts. That's what he was talking about. Haas is talking about. They're like, you got the prosecutor out,
but some of the judges are still left over from when Russia was fucking with the system, and these are the guys you have to get out next. Never mind, like the Shokin's diamond theft and
commitment that they wouldn't do that. And so,
oh yeah, that I should probably show you that real quick too, just in case Jesse Waters watches this later, which she probably will. Shokin. Let's see. Was business? Yeah, here it is. This was the other story that was happening at the time. This is later that year, like the Sakveler says the prosecutor general has business ties with the diamond prosecutors. The former guy. We investigated about 40 corruption cases, but somehow the focus is now on diamond prosecutor case. Why? Because Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, in this case, acts as the most outspoken advocate and defender of the Korniets and the Shapatkin, people close to him. There's a term, a business manager. Well, Korniets is in fact Shokin's business manager. There are also reports for a time he was the driver. This has to be proven by the documents seized from the Korniets, which tie him to Shokin. The diamond prosecutors, they call them that because Shokin's business, his underlings in the investigation department, they raided their house and they found diamonds and cash and AK-47s, and he was taking a cut from it. That's why Zlochevsky didn't want Shokin fired, because he had him on a leash. He could bribe him. The fear was they're going to replace him with somebody we can't bribe, which is exactly what Biden was hoping for. And they did. That's how they ended up having an actual, oh, fuck this guy. That's how they ended up actually having a legit judicial
Commercial
system.
break is going to be real hot. All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me.
That was the end of it, by the way. Okay. So, anyways, we covered it. I nailed it. And by the way, I just it's not even difficult. Like this, the amount of like this again. That's what makes it one of the dumbest lies. It's just lazy. And even again, in that last clip, Jesse Waters conflates two human beings into one person. That's why all this shit has legs, because you don't have to actually get the facts right. You just have to throw up a bunch of these things, and idiots like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others will kind of conflate all of them, and then move. And when you confront them with the fact that they're conflating them, they'll just move on to some other point. It's lame. I will say, it has produced a couple of good things. One is easy dunking on Jesse and that crowd, because it's so lame and easy to show. Like, they're so outside the fact world that they're just lost. And then the other one being is that they all have to say testify behind closed doors. Closed door testimony. Well, all of them having to say that, they grind their teeth when they have to say it. It's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Mann Act, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you one of the other things that's going on is that the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, is what you would commonly refer to in the bills that go through and the budgetary issues that go through the Congress, a must pass. And for Republicans, there's almost nothing you can shove into the NDAA that will stop them voting for it. They often will try to put stuff in, as a matter of fact, that Democrats hate, because they know they have to begrudgingly do it, and they'll always have the vote, so they know it will cross the threshold. But right now, because assholes like this are afraid that somebody's going to see their WhatsApps with some sketchy motherfuckers outside the country, they've all got their jockstraps in a twist about the FISA court extension that's in the NDAA. And well, oh yeah, hold on one second. Because is it Chris? Let's see if I got the first. I don't know. Is it in here? Nope. That's this one. Nope. That's there. Maybe it's here. Nope. Back over here. Okay, so I got to go back over this way. I'll open it later. Anyways, Chip Roy went to the floor and just fucking lost his shit. This is very short too, by the way.
I recognize Ms. Greene for 5 minutes. Is that right?
No, no one recognizes her. You just kind of, it's like a shock to your eye sockets that you know, and then you smell almonds, and then you're like, and then you forget everything, like the little flashy thing from Men in Black.
Yeah. Ms. Greene for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this
Oh, great. She's got COVID.
hearing. CISA claims that it has not engaged in censorship, and that is a complete and total lie. Mr. Schellenberger, I read an article.
Oh, by the way, this is Schellenberger is the guy who co-wrote the shitter files with Matt Taibbi, which are like one of the dumbest things trying to pass itself off as journalism in I gotta say, like 3 fucking decades.
Recently that you had written, and it was about me. The fact that I had been censored, and it was through CISA engaging with the DNC, the NAACP, Homeland Security.
Yes, two NGOs and Homeland Security. How the fuck did you manage to piss off all those people? But did you manage to be racist, violate the I don't know what rules she would, internally to the House you'd violate, and then threaten the homeland?
Tweets, writing tickets on them, and also, amazingly, which to my shock, I read details of these tickets, making up complete falsehoods about me. Talk about misinformation.
Uh-oh.
This is taxpayer-funded government agencies
The DNC and the NAACP aren't.
lying about a member of Congress, about what I said, taking other people's statements and writing it in
Read it. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
context of what I said on my own social media.
Oh, out of context, because so they're supposed to read the tweet before and the tweet after to know that the tweet in the middle that says, no, blood and soil.
Then taking down my actual social media post, which is shocking, absolutely shocking.
No, it isn't.
So
It is. It shocks no one that you could actually manage somehow to violate the terms of service.
Mr. Schellenberger, I'd like to ask you a little bit more. You worked on the Twitter files, and I want to thank you for that work, and thank you for writing this article, calling attention to the fact that me as a member of Congress had my own First Amendment
That I, as a member of Congress,
violated. That's also a First Amendment
maybe they just took you down for grammar.
violation on behalf of my entire district because they elected me and sent me here to represent them. So thank you.
I'm sorry, is everyone in your district an anti-vax, flat earth, QAnon psychopath?
Thank you very much for that. What most surprised you or further alarmed you when you learned everything you did through Twitter files?
It's pronounced learnt.
Thank you for the question, Congressman.
I know it's a little difficult. It's Congresswoman. She doesn't care.
I mean, I think I was shocked.
Thank you. Facts matter, please.
Thank you for the question, Congressman.
Yeah, that was right, Congressman.
I mean, I think I was shocked to see members of Congress being censored, and that was shocking to me.
Is it shocking to you that even members of Congress can violate the terms of service, or do you believe that they should operate above the law and above the rules of everything? That if they're so, let me run this by me so I understand it. So, government officials should be able to supersede the terms of service, override them, write whatever the fuck they want, while plebes like the rest of us have to live by them. Because that's what the argument here is. This is the argument. That you're an elected member of Congress, so therefore you could write everything the rest of us can't. What the fuck?
We were shocked to see how many government employees were constantly emailing Twitter. And
do you have any idea how many drug and human trafficking sales are attempted on every social media platform all the fucking time? And if they don't call, those things happen.
And Carlos Monje, an executive, I cited in my.
Did you? I'll tell you what. if you're going to talk about the fucking number, please do me a favor. Put together a percentage chart based on the stuff that you've read about what they were about. I want to see the percentage that was about like vaccines or about, I don't know, the Illuminati. I don't give a shit. And then I want to know the rest of them. Honest to God. I want to know what the vast majority are. And let me guess. Beheading videos, ISIS, that kind of shit, all the fucking time. All day, every day.
My Twitter files on the Hunter Biden laptop complained about all the pressure that they were getting from the federal government.
What laptop would that be? Have you ever seen this laptop? Have you ever verified the contents of the hard drive? Have you seen the metadata? I mean, we're talking about digital files. Where do they come from? Are half of them real? Are all of them real? Are all of the real ones completely real? Or are they a mix? Have they been edited in any way? If so, what date were they edited on? Well, you can't tell because you don't even know what date they were created on because there's no metadata on any of it. You see how this works? The Pentagon files, we know that they fucking, human beings, photocopied that shit and snuck it out. There's no laptop, right?
I think the most shocking thing, though, was it was sort of like what you're saying, is that the censorship
sort of like what you're saying
was actually in service of disinformation efforts. And that what you're really looking at when you're looking at the Cyber Threat Intelligence League is an operation that looks like a military.
The Cyber Threat Intelligence League? Is that the tech group that works at the Super Friends at the Justice League headquarters or whatever? Is that the geek squad that works there?
Military intelligence operation that clearly they drew right from fighting terrorists abroad, and they turned those tools against the American people. So censorship was just one of the countermeasures that they had set up.
There is no censorship. There isn't. They can say that they have information that this tweet or this idea or this particular post that this person is parroting or reposting is from a foreign source, and they know it, but they can't tell you how they know it because that would be giving away the source and get somebody fucking killed. So they let Twitter or Shitter or Facebook or any of these companies know it, and then those companies, wait for it, make up their own fucking mind about whether or not they're going to take it down or not. And 35% of the time they did. And a good portion of those were people calling for violence, were showing violence, were selling human beings, selling drugs. And these assholes are like 35% of the time people have their First Amendment speech, right? Because these guys, we've got First Amendment purists who believe that child porn is protected under free speech laws. It ain't.
But with the Hunter Biden laptop, it was a disinformation campaign.
By the way, neither is revenge porn or non-consensual nudes. Non-consensual nudes are not free speech. You don't get to take somebody else's naked pictures and go, I saw them, so you should too, because that's how I feel about it. That is not free speech. Non-consensual nudes are, showing non-consensual nudes or being shut down from doing it is not you being having your free speech violated. You are violating the privacy rights of another fucking human being.
Aimed at tying the laptop to the Russians, even though there was no evidence for it. And so,
yes, there was. Rudy Giuliani bought that hard drive in Ukraine from Russians. Prove me wrong. Tell you what, put Eric Trump, Don Jr., and Hunter Biden in a room and have John Paul McIsaac pick him out of a lineup. Have him, he came into the shop, right, with 3 wet laptops. He signed a piece of paper with a squiggle. It was really him, right? So cool, identify him. Have them all say a line, and I guarantee this motherfucker can't tell them apart. Partly because visually he's impaired. He can't see 6 inches past the end of his nose. And again, I'm a big fan of conspiracy theories just for the fun of the mental exercise of whether or not they're possible and what would be required to make them possible and all this kind of shit. But you're going to tell me that a drunk Hunter Biden wandered in with 3 soaking wet laptops that were water damaged, handed him to this guy who, the only laptop repair guy in all of Delaware, who can't see 6 inches past the end of his nose and happens to know Rudy Giuliani's lawyer and is a huge MAGA fan. I guess, sometimes you just roll the fucking dice and it comes up 7.
So you might have a situation where Yoel Roth is like, oh, I've got a good relationship with the FBI, but he's the target of an operation that was aimed at convincing him that there was something suspicious about the Hunter Biden laptop, even though
there was. You know what's suspicious about the Hunter Biden laptop? Unverified, and the entire New York Post story was gone off of pages printed from it by Rudy Giuliani, who would not give them a copy of it for fear that they would do exactly what the Washington Post did, all bullshit headlines aside, and go, this is, and I quote, a forensic nightmare.
they had the receipt from Hunter Biden, and they
Nope. You had a receipt that he alleges is from Hunter Biden.
Had the FBI subpoena taking the laptop in December 2019. And so...
yeah, you had him call, but not that, by the way, them taking a laptop from this dumbass doesn't mean it's Hunter Biden's at all. By the way, this had already happened before. Let me remind everybody. There was already an attempted planting of a Hunter Biden laptop at one other place. The original story was not, if you'll recall, the discovery of a hard drive full of details that this asshole copied for himself and then just kept, which, by the way, who the fuck wants this guy to repair their shit if he thinks he can make a copy of your stuff, you come and get it, and then he gets to keep a copy? Because he didn't keep the laptop. He kept a copy of the hard drive and then passed it on. The fuck out of here. All right, so let me do this. Let's see, Keith. Yeah, here you go. Yeah. This is the part everybody skips over. Everybody just blows this shit off. Fuck you. Yeah, it's supported by Apple. No. No, I'm not going to do it. Just go away. Hold on. Now I got to pop this thing up here and make it larger. What the shit? All right, whatever. Ads being with it. Shut the fuck up. Hold on. I'll copy it from this other thing and put it on. Copy. And then we'll go to Chrome. There we go. Back to here. And we'll shut this down. And I'll open this up. And we'll put this here. And close that. Yes, leave. And then we'll put this in here. So Keith Abloh, for those of you who don't know, is a guy who used to work at Fox News. He's a shrink. And he used to, he got busted for drugging and fucking his patients as, oh, fuck off. Yeah, there you go. Continue. At least it gave me that. All right, now we got it. All right, here you go. Funny how there's just this other laptop dropped off, and there are a couple like it's interesting. One of them's dropped off at this fucking Delaware laptop shop, right? With this guy who can't see, who couldn't pick Hunter Biden out of a fucking lineup, and if he did, he would think it was Don Jr. And then he makes a copy and keeps it for himself and just happens to know Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, but whatever, okay? Meanwhile, there was another laptop that magically showed up at this guy Keith Abloh's house. Now, insofar as we know, here we go, the Weekend Whoppers, this go. A second laptop belonging to Hunter Biden was taken by the feds back in February. The computer was found in the Massachusetts offices of celebrity psychiatrist Keith Abloh during a raid and seized by the DEA agents, according to a new report from NBC. We'll look at that in a second. Boink, pop that open. Abloh's medical license was suspended after he was accused of sexually exploiting patients and other professional misconduct. He has not been charged with a crime and has denied the allegations. Later he was. Hunter Biden has not been the target of the search or the investigation, and his lawyer ultimately got the laptop back, the network reported. It's unclear what was on the machine or why it would have been at Abloh's offices. As the Post previously reported, a different Hunter Biden laptop made its way, did it? It just made its way to a Delaware computer repair shop last year. The store owner later delivered its hard drive to Rudy Giuliani after he said Hunter never returned to retrieve the property. He didn't give him the fucking real thing. And according to him, somebody came up and picked up a copy of the hard drive. He just kept one for himself. There's no such thing as digital property taking up fucking space. You're supposed to destroy the laptop or throw it out and blank the hard drive. That's the understanding. But nope, he just made it. All right. Yeah, Manhunter is careless with all these laptops. That's right, Doc. Isn't it amazing? The laptop contained a trove of details detailing various... No, it didn't. Which potentially including setting up meetings. And this is really fucked up. Here's what happened when NBC News tried to report on the alleged Hunter Biden emails. Analyst Trump complains the media isn't supportive. The complaints from the allies, Trump and his allies, there's evidence of corruption in the emails, but the Wall Street Journal and Fox News, among only news organizations, have been given access to key documents. Among the only news organizations that have been given access to the key documents, found that the emails in other regards don't make that case. Leaving aside that many questions about their provenance, the materials offered no evidence that Joe Biden played any role in his son's dealings in China, let alone profited from them. Both news organizations have concluded. So Fox and the Wall Street Journal, both Rupert Murdoch properties. Yeah. How can you reconcile the Delaware hard drive and the Ukraine hard drive? You mean like how it got there? Yeah, basically, Rudy gets the hard drive in Ukraine, and then they set up this bullshit. Somebody finds this dude and drops it off, and then it's got a whatever Beau Biden sticker on it or whatever, and they build this bullshit story because I don't buy his story at all. They build this bullshit story as a way that it got to Rudy because Rudy already had it. They couldn't just have like, Rudy found this hard drive. Where the fuck did he find it? So they had to make up a story. The first one was the Keith Abloh story, which is what we're talking about. And that fell apart because he got arrested. They found it, like he was, I guess Abloh, who works at Fox, was supposed to like, Hunter left this thing in my house and people should take a look at this thing and I'm turning it over because I believe it has criminal shit on it, right? And then he got busted. So he fucked up their plan. There you go. This is him with Deripaska or whatever, dropping off. Okay. Now, what else? That Giuliani been in contact with? Yeah, here you go. U.S. intelligence agencies have informed the White House that Giuliani has been in contact with alleged Russian intelligence agents. The FBI has been looking into whether the Russians played any role, and no official has ruled that out. Dozens of officials said at Hallmark, that's the letter, the 51 people or whatever. Another factor tamping down coverage of the story is that there isn't much new in the laptop the documents appear to reveal. The allegation that he used traded his family name has been thoroughly explored in news stories, including a lengthy New Yorker investigation piece last year in which Robert Weitzman, the president of the advocacy group Public Citizen, said it's hard to avoid the conclusion that Hunter's foreign employers and partners were seeking to leverage Hunter's relationship with Joe, either by seeking improper influence or project access to him. Now, again, projecting access to him is just them bullshitting. That's what Bobolinsky did. But the improper influence, there's no evidence it paid out anywhere. Okay, so let's see. Yes, stories about the no role for Joe Biden. Let's see. The Times reported the Trump campaign initially. The Times also reported that the Trump campaign initially shopped the story to the Wall Street Journal, hoping that a mainstream news organization would validate their assertions that the documents hinted at corruption. We'll look at that in a second. The Journal didn't do that. The Journal published a story focusing on claims about an alleged deal proposal in China, claims made by former Hunter Biden associate named Tony Bobolinsky. He's the guy who used the big guy phrase, who came forward after the laptop story broke, which, by the way, the reference to the big guy was after Biden had left office and Bobolinsky made it. After examining text messages provided by Bobolinsky, the Journal reported that the venture, set up in 2017 after Mr. Biden left the vice presidency and before his campaign, never received proposed funds from the Chinese company or completed any deals, according to people familiar with the matter. Corporate records show no role for Joe Biden. Now we'll see. They got the laptop. Let's see. News on attempt to obtain documents. NBC News correspondent sent a letter 2 weeks ago to Giuliani seeking copies of the materials. His lawyer, Robert Costello, that's the guy who John Paul McIsaac allegedly gave it to, granted the correspondent the opportunity to review some Hunter Biden emails and other materials in person. The materials included copies of Hunter Biden identification documents that appeared to be genuine, but without taking possession of the copies, it was not possible to conduct the sort of forensic analysis that might help authenticate the emails and documents. That means they were printed out. Fuck off. Giuliani, key questions remain. Owner of the repair shop, John Paul McIsaac, has said a man he believes was Hunter Biden left a water-damaged Apple computer at his shop in April of 2019 for repairs and data recovery, but Biden never retrieved the machine, McIsaac has said, and at some point he began to examine the data that night. At some point. Fuck you. That night. Though he has never publicly explained what that was, something that he found material that disturbed him. He started looking through fucking pictures is what it was. And later he said it was like accounting documents, which is just horseshit. His lawyer said he contacted the FBI, which ultimately served a grand jury subpoena for the laptop and a hard drive. And by the way, that subpoena is for all the materials, and he kept one for himself, so he violated a subpoena, and I'm sure we'll have problems. Okay, so according to Representative Mike Isaac, the subpoena, which is issued in New York Post, signed federal prosecutors, photo of the receipt provided by McIsaac, was published on the Fox News website. It contained an FBI code 27272D, which the Bureau says used to signify an investigation into money laundering where the unlawful activity is unknown, because that's what he alleged. U.S. officials refused to explain why they seized the laptops and what, if anything, they were investigating, because again, if Rudy Giuliani is the president's lawyer and he's arranging this whole fucking thing, and then they send the people over to fucking pick it up, they knew it was going to be there. That's the idea. This is like a moron conspiracy. And then, where's the other? Do they get in there? Okay. Yeah, here it is. This is just the tail end of the story. Let's see. Hunter Biden's lawyer, George Meziers, did not respond to a request for comment by NBC News. He has not asserted, nor has the Biden campaign, that the laptop did not belong to Hunter Biden. If he did leave the machine in Delaware, it would have marked at least the second time he has left behind a laptop. This is so fucking odd. According to two people familiar with the matter, a different Hunter Biden laptop landed in the custody of the DEA in February when they executed a search warrant on the Massachusetts office of a psychiatrist accused of professional misconduct. No mention in this NBC story that he's a fucking TV psychiatrist that worked for Fox fucking News. The psychiatrist has not been charged with a crime. Well, let's jump back in there. Feds raid office of former celebrity psychiatrist Keith Abloh. The office of former celebrity psychiatrist in Newburyport, Massachusetts, was raided by federal agents Thursday. Drug enforcement agency officers executed a search warrant at the office of Keith Abloh, a prominent former psychiatrist whose license was suspended following allegations he sexually exploited patients. DEA Special Agent Timothy Desmond said the search warrants were executed as part of an ongoing investigation, but did not elaborate further. Abloh, a nationally known author, last year settled several malpractice lawsuits that alleged he engaged in sexual relationships with patients, inappropriately prescribed drugs, and committed, quote, boundary violations between 2011 and 2018. No wonder he fucking got a job at Fox News. And it's interesting that NBC covered this story, and they just dodged the fact that he was on Fox on the regular. I mean, maybe he did some NBC stuff at one point and they didn't want to open that can of worms. That's a possibility, I guess. By the way, if this asshole doesn't know this is journalistic malpractice. If he does know it and he's still saying this stuff, fuck off. Yeah, talk about conspiracy theories. I mean, honestly, this is infotainmentwars.com. Join us every week. I don't even have the documents. I got them all memorized. They're up in the old noodle. That's what's really happening there. Infotainmentwars.com. We have the what do we got some up here? And that doesn't look anything like Alex Jones. It looks like a bald Frenchman. That's terrible. I'm so disappointed in myself. And I can't use the same one I use for Joe Rogan. That's terrible. Hold on one second. Let's go with, hi there, welcome to... No, that's bullshit too. It won't work for me. Gorka! Gorka! Come out, Gorka! Hey, I'm Alex Jones. Listen here. This is Alex Jones. And we got all the documents you're going to need here at infotainmentwars.com. Don't forget to subscribe. And, of course, get some of our raging dick pills, which have 20% less lead than our second version of them and 40% more than they should. So Alex Jones here at infotainmentwars.com. We know all the conspiracies that are fit to shart. Right. I'll find something that works better as Alex Jones. But I can't do that for very long. It ruins my singing voice.
In fact, their own review of the laptop, it came back that it was not the result of a hack.
Bullshit. Whose review?
Taking the laptop in December 2019. And so, in fact, their own review of the laptop, it came back that it was not the result of a hack. And so what you see is...
Also, no, that's not anything like what they said. Not at all.
That I think...
This is Schellenberger. This is the guy who partnered with Matt Taibbi to do the fucking shitter files. Yeah. The first one remind you of Kane in Kung Fu. But with a porn stash. I have hold on. I think the general I have learned so much since I started working on the Chevy and meeting the cheerleader girls after practice. Dong Fu. Sorry, that's just terrible. All right. You asked for it. God damn it.
To what Mr. Chenoweth was describing is it's not just coercion. They're actually sort of, I don't know how do you describe it? They're kind of working these guys. They're using a lot of,
they're convincing them. You mean the word is convincing them, and sometimes they're convincing and sometimes they aren't. Nah, it's fucking MK Ultra. Just call it a day. I went way over, but you guys are worth it. I can't go long. Well, I can go long every night, but I shouldn't. Quit it. Stop it. You should stop it. G. Gordon Lightfoot. That's hilarious. Mark P. I should just go G. Gordon Lightfoot. The key is not minding. So for the record, that's I gotta sign off right now, if only so that I can send Jessica Tardoff and somebody in the staff chat, see if you can find me what her link is. There it is, Jessica Tardoff. There it is. Thank you. Excellent. I'm gonna go send that to her right now. I'm gonna go send the link to that document to her and my video. Tarloff. I don't know why I say Tarkov, because I'm thinking either Grand Moff Tarkin or Tarkov in Flash Gordon. Is that his last name? The scientist in Flash Gordon in the movie? Flash. We'll save the kidney. The hell was that? One day I'm gonna milk that one too much. Love you guys. Yeah, Dr. Zarkov, thank you. All right. Come on. Like and subscribe. Come on, credits, work. Just go. Go, credits, go. Go, credits, go. Go, Flash, go. Go, Flash, go. Oh, thanks so much. There we go. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like on your way out the door, if you haven't already. All right. All right. Come on.
been outside, it's packed.
Asshole.
He can do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe.
Asshole.
Don't touch my hands because they're dirty. You have the ocean and you have the sun. There's something about that that works.
Lumpy pillows kiss my ass.
Peace through strength on the earth beyond. I like her a lot. TPP2. Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism. What you doing? We have to slab it.
Yeah, no, she's crazy. She is totally nuts.